Vital on the glass, thumb on the glass, and it's a great start for the Bears.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
I'm still a little bit in shock that, other than I'm here and I've hugged players and I've spoken to people and I've been around campus, these coaching searches happen this fast, but I certainly wasn't a week ago thinking I would be sitting here getting ready for a press conference today.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Looking to the end zone, it's got to be a touchdown. Drake Dabney.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
She would curl up in the corner, not to disturb anything, but she would curl up in the corner and she would just study and watch. And then after practice, we would spend time together. She'd have her assistant with her sometimes. And we would just talk basketball. And, every time we did a clinic, I knew who was going to be there. She was always there.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go. The press conference introducing Nicki Collen right now going on at the Farrell Center. Mack Rhodes introduced her. Of course, she is talking right now. And we had a chance, Paul Catalina, we were able to get on Zoom earlier today to interview Nicki Collen, and we'll have that for you. We had planned on doing that at around 3:10, but we're going to move that back a little bit later in this hour. But I do have some comments from Atlanta Hawks assistant coach, former Baylor men's basketball coach, Melvin Hunt, on Nicki Collen that perhaps that I suggest you listen to. Because when I got on the phone with him, I was expecting him to tell me a couple of stories that we could use for today's interview, and they ended up, we talked for 27 minutes. We'll use the entire interview at 5:20 or so today, following our time at 5 o'clock with Jon Machota on the Cowboys. Also today, we'll hear from Lane Garrison. He's a part of 12 Mighty Orphans. He'll join us today at 3:45, plus also Eleasah Anderson, the offensive tackle. Sam Houston used to be at Baylor at 4:15. And then Dale Bonner, the transfer who we had yesterday, late news at the end of the day from Fairmont State, will join us at 4:30. So again, the press conference is going on. We'll hear from Melvin Hunt here momentarily. But Paul, I saw a couple of quotes. Baylor released a statement, or I guess a presser, a bio on obviously Nicki Collen, and there was the quote from Odyssey Sims that the reason she went to Atlanta, former Baylor All-American guard, Naismith Award winner, she went to Atlanta because she wanted to play for Nicki Collen. But if she can't play for her, she would want her to be coaching at Baylor.
Yeah, and look, we got to talk to her, and I was impressed early on. She's a very affable person, very really was comfortable doing. It didn't seem like she was put out by doing all the media stuff she had to do, and she had to kind of go through a car wash this morning, which can be annoying. And really impressed with what I heard from Nicki Collen. I think that I get the feeling that the biggest question is, well, she hasn't been a college head coach, or the Atlanta dream wasn't very good. While she was there, they didn't have a great record. But I think she's ready for this job, and she's got lofty goals to match because of her predecessor. But again, she's stepping into a really good situation roster wise, and especially if she can keep most of those players out of the portal, then this is a team that can contend right away.
So she's talking right now. Mac Rhodes introduced her. And Craig, there's so many little things I learned from Melvin Hunt. Also, one of the notes I got from Doug Gottlieb, he texted me last night, from Nicki's husband, Tom, and Gottlieb said, hey, what are one thing you can tell me? Your husband said, I mean, everyone who knows her has the same opinion of her. That says quite a bit, that it's not up and down a roller coaster of how maybe she acts in front of other people. It's pretty much the same across the board.
Yeah, it does. And I didn't, take part in that. So you're all going to have to be the ones to shed light, and we'll get to hear it a little bit later on. But, yeah, I mean, that's good to know that she's consistent with people. I wish we could hear her right now, but obviously there's a time conflict. So I'm just trying to keep track of some of the, quotes. And
yeah, you pass them along as you want as well.
To the fans, you probably didn't know my name until 2 days ago. I get it. I promise you'll love how we play was something that she just said. She's brought up Kalani Brown and Odyssey Sims already. But, yeah, just kind of tracking what she has to say and look forward to hearing more later on.
We will have that here momentarily. We were going to start with it, but obviously the press conference running slightly late. We can't carry it live, so we are going to not tap dance. We're going to hear from Melvin Hunt here momentarily. She was a valedictorian in high school. She's a mechanical engineering degree major, master's degree as well. One thing that I also heard, we would talk about transfers, and we did bring this up, is that she transferred. She was at Purdue. They were a Final Four team. She transferred to Marquette. And so she understands the transfer. She also understands the transfer portal that's wide open. And we'll discuss that because that's basically what she just dealt with in the WNBA, getting pros to move from one city or franchise to another. But when Doug Gottlieb said this yesterday, that it was out of her mind, and that's what I've heard from others who have told me things about Nicki Collen, that she really was blown away by the fact. In fact, she wondered if she was just maybe a part of the mix. Was she legitimately going to be considered? And she's blown away out of her mind, as what Doug Gottlieb said to us yesterday as well. Remember Bo Ryan at Wisconsin? Mm-hmm. He coached in Platteville. He was a Division III coach and won a bunch of national championships. Heard this story that Nicki was the all-time leading scorer at Platteville High School. And then, I don't know if it was I think it was sometime last year, a senior broke her scoring record because of COVID, because of the WNBA and all what Nicki was dealing with in Atlanta. She couldn't go back and visit with the young lady, but she sent her a video message congratulating her on what she had done to break her all-time scoring record at Platteville High School as well. So that's some of what we know about Nicki Collen that we haven't. And that's from Mike Jacques, by the way. He's a sports reporter up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. One of the other things that I think is interesting is that when you sit there and you look at the roster, and oh, by the way, I know this. I cannot give you the name yet, but Baylor has also, there's another transfer. It's not just Jordan Lewis, but there's another transfer, and I kind of have all but the ability to tell you who it is. It's a scorer. She can score based on her stats, but I have not been able to confirm it with the player and or with Baylor has not released anything as well. But there is another transfer that is signed with Baylor, and I believe was even a part of the Zoom on Monday when Nicki Collen was a part of the Zoom meeting with the team. Not sure if she was there in person when she met with the team yesterday or not. So there is another transfer coming in other than Jordan Lewis, the young lady who was a star at Alabama, an all-Southeastern Conference player. So, all right, you want to do Melvin Hunt here?
Yeah, let's take a break first.
Take a break here. We'll come back with Atlanta Hawks assistant coach Nicki Collen right now is talking at the Farrell Center. Well, Craig will continue to update on a few of the quotes when we come back. If you don't know enough, and you might be watching and listening to her right now, but this is Melvin Hunt coming up, Atlanta Hawks assistant coach, former Baylor basketball player. The full interview at 5:20 today. His thoughts about what he knows from personal experience being around Nicki Collen. Next on SicEm365 Radio.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. In a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Allen Samuels is celebrating Jeep Freedom Days. It's an exciting time for the Jeep Cherokee and the Grand Cherokee. Built tough as nails and able to stand up to any challenging off-road trails or city roads, travel with innovative technology to meet your lifestyle. Jeep, a great SUV. Allen Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer, the best place to get your next SUV. Located at 201 West Loop 340 or visit them online at allensamuelsdcj.com. Allen Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by, let's be friends.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on SicEm365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
All right, we're loaded up this first hour. Nicki Collen will join us from a recorded interview from earlier today at around 3:25 or so. Lane Garrison, 12 Mighty Orphans is being released in June. It's a great movie. We showed a clip of it, a trailer earlier this week. Eleasah Anderson, Dale Bonner from Fairmont State transferring to Baylor, plus Melvin Hunt, the full interview. And we'll hear from him momentarily on Nicki Collen, who he knew because he's with the Hawks in Atlanta, and she was coaching the Dream. And you need, if you have the time, if you don't hear it, you need to hear it because what he says about her in many different ways of what she loves about the game of basketball and who she is as a person. Craig, a couple other notes as Nicki continues to do her press conference at the Farrell Center.
Yeah, she said why Baylor, first the people, second the purpose, and that she missed mentoring young athletes when she was in the WNBA. She also said that she accepted the job on her sister's birthday. Her sister passed away 7 years ago after a short battle with cancer. She said, we're always looking for signs, and that was one, signing on my sister's birthday. She also said that she was asked at one point if she wanted to talk to Scott Drew. And she said, are you kidding? The guy just won a national championship. Damn it, I want to talk to Scott Drew. And that Scott asked to pray with her and pray over, I guess, her and her family and their decision and whatnot. And when he did that, she said that was the moment that got her to Waco was, I guess, Scott asking to pray over everything. So, yeah, I mean, didn't know that about her sister. And already, getting along, it appears pretty well with Scott Drew, who she also called the ultimate salesman. So, yeah, that's some more that she's said so far at the podium.
All right, as she continues to do that. Now, last night, as I mentioned, I reached out to Atlanta Hawks assistant coach Melvin Hunt. I tried to get Melvin on the show back a few years back when he was with Denver. He was the interim head coach, and then he worked with the Mavericks for a little bit and thought he was never going to leave Dallas until someone asked him to come join the staff with the Atlanta Hawks. And he's been there. And, of course, they have former Oklahoma star Trae Young. They have not been very good. This year, they're 36-30 in the mix for a playoff berth. And they haven't been to the playoffs since 2015. So I asked Melvin if I could talk to him. He was studying Phoenix, who they played last night, just to kind of watch the end of the game. And then he said, okay, I'm ready. And I said, I just need 5 minutes. 27 minutes later, we're still talking. That interview at 5:20. But a part of the interview is about Nicki Collen. And here's Melvin Hunt of the Atlanta Hawks and former Baylor basketball player.
When did you first meet Nicki Collen, who now, as you know, is the new head coach replacing Kim Mulkey at Baylor? When did that start?
When I took the job, took a job here as the lead assistant here with Atlanta 3 years ago, and I knew of her. I have very close ties with the WNBA. One of my best friends is Tina Thompson, and I've always been a part of spent a lot of time with the WNBA ladies. Especially when I was in Houston. So I followed the league, and I knew of Nicki. And she, as soon as we got to Atlanta, I think there was another coach on our staff that may have been connected to her, but whatever the case was, she was a sponge. She came to practices. She would curl up. She would curl up in the corner, not to disturb anything, but she would curl up in the corner and she would just study and watch. And then after practice, we would spend time together. She'd have her assistant with her sometimes, and we would just talk basketball. And every time we did a clinic, I knew who was going to be there. She was always there. She came to our games. She really supported us, but she also took it as an opportunity to stretch herself as a coach. Here she was. She was already an accomplished coach, but again, a student of the game. She was again thirsty for knowledge and thirsty to grow. And that was right up my alley. There were times after practice, I probably got in trouble with my wife because I'm standing in the middle of the court with, a couple of our coaches and Nicki and her assistant coach, and we're talking basketball, we're talking players, we're talking personalities, and we look up and I'm an hour and a half late for dinner. Because it's just, she's a basketball and a people person. I mean, Waco community is going to fall in love with her. And losing Coach Mulkey, who I've been a fan of for all my life. I grew up watching her when I was in Louisiana. To lose an icon like her, you never replace that. But we did really good, man. Hey, we did really good getting Nicki. I mean, she's going to be she's fiery. I hate saying it, but when you see her little small stature, kind of like Kim was on the sideline, there are going to be times where you're going to wipe your eye. You have to wipe your eyes to see who's really over there, because she's got a lot of the same personality. She's feisty. She's an incredible competitor. And I tell you what, her ladies that she's going to coach, they're going to fall in love with her commitment to them as people and her commitment to the program, because every time I walked into the gym during the summer, I just kind of sneak in our gym, and they're not even, they didn't work out the Atlanta Dream. They didn't work out in our gym, in our practice facility, but we had Emory there. You could rehab players, and sometimes they use our gym. And there were quite a few times in the summer she was over on a court by herself with a young lady from her team, getting her right and just spending time with them. And I just absolutely just fell in love with her as a coach, because she really, really, you talk about the sweat equity. She connects with those young ladies. And the great thing about Baylor sports and Baylor women's sports is, these young ladies are not just coming to college just to play college basketball. A lot of these ladies have aspirations to be pros, and that just speaks to where our program is nowadays. And are you kidding me? To have a former WNBA Coach of the Year coaching you? Are you kidding me? Just think about the visitors that they're going to have in the off season coming to Waco to hoop, just to play pickup. It's going to be an unreal. I just think it's a match made in heaven. It's a great opportunity for those young ladies. And you're talking about a recruit. When she walks into your home and you're a top 10 recruit, and you know that you have aspirations to play at the next level, and she walks in the door, are you kidding me? I mean, she knows what you want. And so I just think it's going to be a great way to attract young ladies, and they're going to want to play for her. I just think it's just a great hire.
What does it say? And I know the last couple of years with the Dream, they've had a lot of off-the-court things, injuries, and, of course, last year was a mess because of the ownership change and transition and a lot of the controversy. But she was there and handled that. They didn't win much, but she handled it. And then what does it also say that she's the same woman that's not afraid to step in to a program that has a standard it's almost impossible to match?
Well, you just painted the picture of who she is. You said it. She handled that. She managed all those rough times. Like a lot of times, you don't really know a leader until adversity steps in. And hey, there's a kabillion people, if there is such a word. There's a kabillion people that can draw up a play or that can execute an after timeout play and defenses. There's so many great coaches and wonderful coaching minds in this great country. But leaders, I mean, she's shown, to be able to weather the storm of all the off the court stuff that was going on, here in America and in Georgia. She handled that. It never became it didn't blow up, and that speaks to her leadership. That speaks to her ability to deal with varying, different personalities. And I again, if you can't tell already, I'm a bit of a fan.
Oh,
I am a fan of her because of she produces. She's put it out there, and in the midst of all that of the losing and the injuries and all that stuff, that's when I saw her working the hardest. So I mean, she gets it. She really does. And I just know that her young ladies, they're going to pick up on it, and they're going to want to work. They're going to want to play for her.
That's Melvin Hunt. He's the assistant coach with the Atlanta Hawks. He's been in the NBA for a long, long time, played at Baylor from 1987 to 1981. His full interview about many things, again, with Nicki Collen, but also with Scott Drew in men's basketball and what they've accomplished. One sneak peek into it is what he did after they won the national title is probably what almost every one of you did after they won the national title. For about 3 days, he absolutely made sure everybody knew where he had played college basketball and also where he had gone to college. We're trying to maneuver again as Nicki Collen. We're not allowed to carry this live. She's on right now, still on, and she's made the press now, media that's there asking questions for her. When that is over, we're going to kind of shift gears. That's Melvin Hunt. We'll have Nicki Collen on just a second, but also we're going to hear from Lane Garrison, who's a part of the movie The 12 Mighty Orphans. I saw the trailer at the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. It's coming out in June, and we're going to have him on here momentarily as well. Some other things that continue to come down from the Nicki Collen press conference. And in fact, I got from Paula right now. I know as soon as I heard that she got a degree in mechanical engineering, and the story about her sister, I was sold. She will be a great asset to the program. She seems smart and analytical. I'm excited to see what she does right now, asking questions or answering questions from the media at the introductory press conference. So we're going to go to Lane Garrison, who's a part of the 12 Mighty Orphans, and then when that's done, we will then hear with our conversation from earlier today with Nicki Collen as she continues at the Ferrell Center. All right, now Jack McKenzie and also Armstrong Sims run the mothership here on SicEm365 Radio. One quick note about the Cowboys. Antoine Woods was released, defensive tackle. Remember, they drafted a lot of defense, and he was released today by the Dallas Cowboys. We're now joined by Lane Garrison. 12 Mighty Orphans. I saw the trailer. We played it earlier this week as well. The movie comes out in June. It's a spectacular movie with Martin Sheen, with Robert Duvall, and also with Luke Wilson, and with Lane Garrison, who joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Lane, I saw you at the banquet. I know I couldn't get a chance to get over to you. This movie, I read the book when it came out. I know Jim Dent. I know about Jim Dent. I also know he's a great writer. How did all this start coming about, and your thoughts about being involved in the movie?
Well, first off, Sic'em, David, how are you? Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, for me, this was a God-sent project. To give you a quick backstory, yes, Jim Dent is a fantastic writer, and reading the book, you can only pray that you can do it justice when you make a movie. And we also plan on turning, what was written in the book into a TV series and a show, because Rusty Russell was at the Masonic home for over 16 years. Obviously, we can't show that on film. But long story short, people have been trying to make this movie for years, and the rights kept going from one person to the next person to actually Rusty Russell, who is played by Luke Wilson, to Rusty Russell's grandson, Russ Morton. And he had seen The Iron Orchard, which was my last film that I did with the filmmaker and director Ty Roberts, and we ended up getting the rights from him and his group of people, and it came to us that way. And we had just finished doing The Iron Orchard, Ty Roberts and myself, and I was sent this story. And I grew up in Dallas. I went to J.J. Pierce, played football my whole life, and that was my first dream before acting or anything. And I also lost my parents when I was younger. So I'm an orphan kid who used football as an escape and as a way to teach me discipline and bonding and everything else. So for me, I was one of the 12 Mighty Orphans. I was one of these kids, and I'm just fortunate enough that I got to co-write the script with Ty and make this movie, which, by the way, is fantastic. It is a feel-good, inspiring film without it being hokey. It is down and dirty. My wife already saw it. She cried 5 times, and that just gave me a good sign that we've got a great film on our hands.
Lane, I really enjoy when you make Texas movies with Texas actors. And I probably feel that way if it's a Georgia movie or whatever, but Luke Wilson is a Texan. Robert Duvall isn't technically a Texan, but he was in Lonesome Dove, so he might as well be. And you have people in the movie who kind of understand Texas. Does that make it easier when you're trying to convey the story as you want it to be told on film?
Yeah, so, part of me, I spent 20 years in La La Land, as I call it, Los Angeles. And part of moving back here was with The Iron Orchard. And after that experience, wanting to make movies in Texas that were Texas-based with international appeal, with a Texas crew, there was something about it. We don't have the big tax incentives. And Oklahoma, New Mexico, all these other states trying to lure us away from making this movie somewhere else, and we didn't want to do it because, as you know, Texans have the greatest spirit and heart, and what we didn't get in tax incentives, we got when people opened up their doors and their land. And the mayor of Fort Worth, Betsy Price, the amount of favors we got, we would never get that in any other state. And so shooting it here where the story actually took place brings that authenticity to the film that you can't get, and it's great for the actors, which, by the way, most of the Mighty Mites, the boys we cast, are local based Texas boys, and they do a fantastic job. I hope this is a springboard for their careers and a launching pad.
You know, one of the things, Lane, that also makes this important anywhere in the state of Texas is, of course, the love of football, Friday Night Lights, and all of that stuff, all the history, tradition. But where we are here in Waco in Central Texas and into the West Texas area, there are numerous six-man football teams around the Waco area, around this area, with Abbott or Iredell or Aquila. There's just tons of them, private schools and public schools as well. And your thoughts about the Masonic home and just what this means to the history of those who are involved. I knew someone that used to play there. He's passed away, and I know what this meant to him, the movie being made. What do you think it means to them?
Well, I got to see it firsthand because we shot in Fort Worth, where the Masonic home was based, and we had a lot of the old Mighty Mites and some of the wives that were still alive there to be extras and talking to them and watching the community that knew the story, or it was somebody's grandparents be impacted. I think it's got a huge impact, not just for the state, just for football in general. You talk about six-man football, and I grew up in the era where in the off season I was part of, 7-on-7 leagues. I was a receiver, and that's what you did from June, July, and part of August. You were part of a 7-man team. And I think it doesn't matter whether you have a 6-man squad or a full squad. There's something amazing about the game that teaches you to be disciplined. It teaches you goals. It teaches you drive. It gives you even compassion and friendships, and everything that it taught me in life when it was hard, I honestly came from football. And it now, there's such a negative stigma with the game and concussions and, it's violent and everything else. Well, yeah, that gets a lot of attention, but what doesn't get a lot of attention is all the positive stories that come out of football. And we saw that the other night. I don't know if you were crying, but me and my wife were crying with some of those stories of those young men and those coaches and those young men that will go on and change other young men's lives. And, I leaned over to my wife, and after the story about the Liberty Hill coach passing from cancer, and I had a tear in my eye, and I heard that young man talking about his coach and what he taught him. And I said to my wife, I have 2 daughters, I said, this is exactly why we have to have a son and why he has to play football, because of those life lessons right there.
Yeah.
And, I think six-man football is great. Like, it's invaluable. Hey, it's also harder. I mean, when you've got to rally around 6 guys, man, and buckle up and make it happen, I mean, my hat's off to them. So I've had an affinity for the game. We were there to honor Danny Amendola as well, who's one of my best friends. And I've been fortunate enough. I've trained with him in the off season, and Edelman, with Gronk, with some amazing quarterbacks. In the off season, I get to throw with Baker Mayfield and play with Garrett Wilson, all these guys, and get out there. And to me, the love of the game is still burns deep in me. So I'm so happy that both of my worlds, acting and writing, and my love for football kind of collided on this one.
All right, what's more intimidating, practicing with Edelman and Gronk, or when Robert Duvall shows up on set and you've got to kind of look down the barrel of Gus there, of all the of all those movies he's done, and be like, all right, well, I get to kind of tell him what to do here.
Well, what's funny is they're both equally nerve-wracking. I remember going out with Danny and Colt McCoy one day. We were training, this was 2 summers ago, and running a speed out for him where Colt damn near decleated me, and being so nervous just to run that. And it's that same nervousness that I felt when Duvall came on set, literally a living legend. And all these people were afraid to talk to him. They're like, don't talk to him. I don't know. I've heard stories. Don't talk to this man. And I was sat over there so nervous, and I just thought, what do I have to lose? I've got to talk to. I want to meet this guy. He's in my film, and he's a legend. And he couldn't have been more nice. And he signed a bunch of posters and stuff for me and some buddies and books. And what an honor it is to have him in the film. And he reunites with Martin Sheen in our movie, and they hadn't been together since Apocalypse Now.
Oh, wow.
So that was a really, they had not been together, seen each other, or been on camera since Apocalypse Now. And I had to sit back and pinch myself actually Mike DeLuca, the big, movie producer, the producer on this, leaned over to me and said, pretty cool that you wrote a movie that pairs these two up. He's like, this is movie magic happening right now. He's like, and it is surreal. But I would like to say one other thing. Luke Wilson plays Rusty Russell, and I've told him this to his face. This is the best thing he's ever done. It's the most lines he's had in a film. It's the most big character he's ever been in a film, and he absolutely crushes it. And, our buddy Jim Dent is going to be proud. He's going to be proud of Luke for this one.
Well, and he God bless Jim, and he's been through his ups and downs, as you know, and I guarantee you, because I remember when the book came out, and I had him on a show that I used to host as well back in the day, and he's an incredible writer. It's great that this is the opportunity to be able to kind of highlight the book as well, and also the movie. Lane, we want to stay in touch. I know that's going to be released sometime in June. I just tweeted out the trailer again. We showed it yesterday as well. Can you believe it? Do you have to kind of pinch yourself a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, after a crazy year for everybody, what a timely story to, these boys inspired the nation. I hope the film inspires the nation that, through teamwork and self-belief, we can overcome all obstacles. But really quickly, the plug is June 11th, it opens across all of Texas. Okay, June 11th in theaters here. June 18th, Father's Day weekend across the nation from there. So we're starting in Texas. Sony Pictures Classics is releasing the film, and they've just got a wonderful track record with great movies. This is their first sports film to get behind, so that says something. And June 11th, it is worth getting back out and seeing this thing on the big screen.
Thank you, Lane. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Congrats. Great to see you at the banquet. And you're right, what Coach Walker said about his brother at Liberty Hill was something that you could hear a pin drop in that room, no question about it. And that's what also is the heart and soul of Texas high school football and playing in athletics. Thank you for your time. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Lane Garrison, 12 Mighty Orphans. I just tweeted out the link again to the trailer, and we showed that earlier in the week. It is going to be an amazing movie. All right. Nicki Collen is done with her press conference. Break here and come back with our conversation.
Yep.
When we come back, Nicki Collen, SicEm365 Radio. Before we take the break, Craig?
Oh, no, I was going to chime in and say that it appears a lot of people who maybe were a little unsure or whatever, no surprise. You actually keep your eyes and ears open and you kind of give somebody some time. And sure enough, a lot of people, maybe not everybody who's been down, but a lot of people, wow, I'm blown away. Wow, I love her. Wow, she's great. Wow, she's way better than I thought. So, kind of like I was saying yesterday, give people a chance. And doesn't mean she's going to be, a national champion anytime soon, but I think she's made a good impression today.
It's almost as if Mac Rhodes is not on his first day on the job.
Somewhat, yeah.
When we come back, that's a great point. A lot of things to get to, and a lot of you are asking us about when it's going to run. It's next. Nicki Collen, Baylor women's basketball coach, is next on SicEm365 Radio.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
And joining us now on SicEm365 Radio is Baylor Lady Bears head coach Nicki Collen. And Nicki, when did you first hear about the Baylor job, and what was your thoughts that it might be open when Kim Mulkey left for LSU?
You know, I actually heard, probably a couple of weeks ago. I mean, this is a small world, this coaching world. And, and I had heard about it really more from the side of Nikki Fargas going to the Aces. That was the first, kind of domino that I heard about. And, then there was the rumblings that, Kim might leave, that she might go home. So certainly a couple of weeks ago, started to hear that. Honestly, like, I was so immersed in my team and my season. I'm not sure what day it was that, she even officially took the LSU job. But I would say, maybe a day later, I got a text from a friend asking me if I was interested in the job. And I said yes, and didn't know that would lead to anything, other than a friend asking me if I was interested in the job. But then got a call from the search firm and had a conversation with them. And he obviously felt good enough to push my name forward. And, then I spoke to Mac on the phone, and, but even at that point, I didn't know who the other candidates were. I didn't know whether this was serious. I didn't know if they're just talking to a lot of people. Am I the out-of-box hire? Am I the out-of-box candidate, in terms of looking in a lot of different directions? So it really didn't get real until Sunday, in all honesty.
Doug Gottlieb told us yesterday that you are out of your mind that you got this job. Are you? Do you kind of like trying to figure all this out?
I think partly just because it happened so quickly. And, I actually had, when the Baylor job opened, I had a reporter that covers us a lot in the W say, What's it going to take to get you to Baylor? And I just kind of sent the laughing emoji, like, really? Come on. So I am. I'm still a little bit in shock that, other than I'm here and I've hugged players and I've spoken to people and I've been around campus, these coaching searches happen this fast, but I certainly wasn't a week ago thinking I would be sitting here getting ready for a press conference today.
As women's college basketball goes, this is a destination job and a top 2 or 3 job you can get. So in your kind of wildest coaching mind, do those things kind of pop in your head? Like, Baylor being open is akin to UConn being open. It's just not something we think about as sports people.
Absolutely. Yeah. You never thought, you thought Kim would retire here, just like you think Gino's going to retire at Connecticut and Tara's going to retire at Stanford. That's how this job is viewed. And so definitely, I know that there's a big challenge ahead. I know, cliche-ishly, there's big shoes to fill. Like, she built this. And, my job is to, keep growing it, but growing it the way that I know how to grow it, with my style and my personality and my approach to coaching.
Nicki, there's 2 things in particular that to me stand out. One is you're unafraid to take this job, and some that might have been too big for them. And number 2, you also had to deal with what was going on with the Atlanta Dream franchise. I had someone, Melvin Hunt, tell me this, and you know him well, that the best part of last year for you was making sure that team did not implode and they kept playing. What does that say about you?
That relationships matter to me more than anything. Really, that last summer between our opt-outs, our ownership situation, the Black Lives Matter movement, the political unrest, the Vote Warnock shirts. It was about managing those relationships. It was about walking beside my players and sometimes, walking behind them in support of them, allowing them to lead. Obviously, those, professional players are adults. They are going to speak, their mind. And so it was an unusual, walking the tightrope between supporting your players, knowing that you had an owner who had hired you, believed in you, and was paying for you to be there. It was a tightrope to walk, to have gratitude and respect, and also, understand how our players felt. So it was a tough year. It was something that if you'd have told me at any point in my adult life that would be a part of my coaching, I would have told you it was crazy to be in the middle of a pandemic and to be talking about misogyny and be talking about, racial injustice, all those things all tied into coaching. I'm used to putting an orange ball, through an orange, hoop.
And so does that help you prepare for now? I know it's different. That's a completely different part of it. But did that also help you understand what you're about to face, the expectations at Baylor?
I think everything, my life hasn't been this perfect climb to get here. There's been ebbs and flows and a lot of things. So I feel like I've got a lot of experience in general, and I'm also old enough. I always say I'm 45 going on 14 because I think I have the energy of a teenager and I have the passion of a teenager. If I could still be playing, I'd be playing rather than coaching because I love this game so much. But ultimately, I think it's the experience that allows me to just say, this is who I am. This is authentically me. This is how I'm going to lead. This is how I'm going to serve. And that's how I confidently go forward and do what I do. I'm not going to try to be Kim. I'm going to be Nicki Collen. And, this administration felt like that was good enough, and hopefully better than that. So, ultimately, I'm just excited to put my footprint on this program, even if it's a footnote, ultimately, you got to start somewhere.
How much outside of the, off the court things you had to deal with in the WNBA last year, but how much will the WNBA help you in recruiting and help you coach players now that you have both the college experience, which we had extensive experience before you got to WNBA, and now being a professional coach before you got here?
Yeah, I think the WNBA experience helps me in 2 ways. One, I absolutely know what it takes to get there, and I know what it takes to be successful there. So if I'm going into a home, those players should believe that I know how to get them there. I mean, because, we've turned players into most improved players in the WNBA. We've had players be first team all conference players, even in Atlanta. So, I can talk the talk, but I'm going to walk the walk, when it comes to preparing those players. The other area it helped me is every game in the WNBA, you got to show up. There aren't 40-point games. There aren't games that you have starters out, in the third quarter. You got to coach to the last minute in every game, because every 14-point game is going to go to a 4-point game. Every 20-point game is going to get shrunk to at least 8 at some point. So managing late game situations, understanding time and score, competing against incredible minds. It's in-game adjustments are so important in the WNBA. You can't do the same thing all the time. You got to double grinder sometimes. You got to play or single sometimes. You got to coach that into the players to have, some instinct that when to do what. So, I think those are the two parts. The recruiting, I know the league, I know how to get you there. And two, I've coached in a lot of late game, tight game, contested game situations.
You have to try to now put your staff together and at the same time trying to manage those who are transferring in. One player who signed, Miriam Dowda out of Arkansas, and yet it's a dead period. How do you know what you might have until you get through, I guess, Sunday?
So the beauty of at least it being a dead period is you have the ability to recruit your own players. Right. So if they've signed, you can recruit those players. I just can't go recruit any 2022s right now. So, my primary job right now is to re-recruit the players at Baylor. The ones on the roster, the ones coming to the roster, all of those things. That is my number one priority right now, getting them to understand who I am and how they fit and why they should stay at Baylor. So that's the first priority. And then certainly starting to have those conversations about what my staff is going to look like. And all I can tell you is it's a work in progress. When you hire a great staff, it's dominoes. You get one person, you get that person, who brings something to the table, a strength where you're weak, one of those type situations. And then once you get that person, that dictates the next direction a lot of times. Unless you're a coach that's taken your entire staff and you already know how that works, it's about one person at a time, the right person in the right position, that balances my personality, that balances my strengths and weaknesses. And that's going to pour into these players the same way I'm going to pour into them, because that will always be, if I learned anything from the WNBA, they were always going to talk in the WNBA about being a player first league. Well, we need to transfer that to some degree to this level. Our players need to know that they're important and that they're important all the time.
Jordan Lewis is coming in from Alabama. She's already signed, and she says she's going to stay and play at Baylor. How important was that you were able to already keep that commitment?
Yeah, I talked to Jordan, Monday night, after we had our first team Zoom. And one of the good things about Jordan is that I was at Florida Gulf Coast when she was playing in high school. So we had Jordan on campus. We had her family on campus. I think it came down to Florida Gulf Coast, Clemson, and Alabama at the time. So Jordan has elevated her game over the last 5 years. At the same time, it always comes down to relationships. And she played for Central Florida Elite. And her coach with Central Florida Elite is close to a coach that's at Florida Gulf Coast now that I'm great friends with, so it's about having the right network, the right relationships, and having people say things about you without you having to say it. A lot of times it's like, no, you need to stay. You need to go play for Coach Nicki. Like, she's awesome, and then you don't have to necessarily sell yourself in every environment. So, if you leave a trail of people who believe in you, who trust you, who you treat right, then ultimately, other people will sell you sometimes better than you can sell yourself.
You left college coaching 3 years ago, and you come back, and the transfer portal's gotten turned up to 11. How do you adjust to that, knowing it was one thing when you left, and then you walk back through the door? It's almost a completely different thing.
Well, here's what it is. Here's why I'm comfortable with it. It's free agency.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's free agency. I hope that coaches do not start coaching or do not start recruiting players at schools before they go in the transfer portal, especially with the one-time transfer rule ultimately. But when they're there, it's free agency. It's like having a bunch of unrestricted free agents in there, So that I get, I always said, like, if you, having been in the college game and been in recruiting, while the free agency period is much more compressed, it is like recruiting like on speed, like it is amped up. It is, I don't get out of my pajamas for 6 weeks because, you're on the phone with players, agents, back to the player, back to the agent, the next player, the next, and so, it's not that dissimilar.
And you yourself experienced that, right? From Purdue to Marquette. So does that make it a little bit easier for you to understand that?
Absolutely. And I've always said, if players are transferring for the right reason, and you can't tell anyone that they're not transferring for the right reason today anyway, I think that sometimes the hard part about transferring is you have players who are successful and they're just looking for something a little different. But certainly, I understand, like my experience was I played on a great team at Purdue, but I didn't get the kind of minutes I wanted, and I wanted to have a different impact. And so I know what it's like to be the 12th player on a roster, and I know what it's like to be the player that never comes out of the game. And so I think that the transfer experience for me as a player has made me a better coach in a lot of ways, simply because I understand what it feels like to be the player that wants to badly play and doesn't get minutes. And I understand what it means to be the player that only comes out, if I'm not standing up, because I got knocked down and can't get back up. So, I do understand it. Players are trying to be happy. That college is short. They should enjoy their experience. And I hope ultimately, when I retire from Baylor, that, the one thing players will say is that they had joy. They loved their experience on the court and off the court at Baylor University.
I know you got to go. How much of a sponge are you when it comes to basketball? Coach Melvin Hunt said you just soaked it in, watched practice, never said much, and then met at midcourt and just listened.
Yeah, I fell in love with the game of basketball in the 5th grade. It was my first love, not my only love now, but ultimately, like, it is who I am, and I watch a ton of NBA basketball. I think that's where trends start. We see the best of the best players and coaches, and that transfers to the W, which transfers to college, both on the men's and women's side. So I just want to be better. I want to know more I want to know more tomorrow than I know today, and because I have such a passion for the game itself, I have a passion for relationships, but I have a passion for basketball in general. So if I'm going to be great, I got to keep working.
That's Nicki Collen, again, the new head basketball coach for Baylor women's basketball. Coach, thanks a lot. Good luck with your speech today, your introduction, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Nicki Collen, Baylor women's basketball on SicEm365 Radio. All right, now, here's what we want you to do if you're interested. 254-339-1122. We'll open up the lines. Your thoughts here in this next segment. We're going to hear from former Baylor football player Eleasah Anderson, who's now at Sam Houston State. They're playing in the semifinals against James Madison in Huntsville. They just beat 3-time defending and multiple-time defending champion North Dakota State. He's going to join us at 4:15. And then, there's a new player coming to Baylor men's basketball. We'll talk to him as well, Dale Bonner, at 4:30. Much more to get to, and then a lengthy interview from former Baylor player Melvin Hunt on Nicki Collen, on Baylor basketball, and his love of the green and gold as well. This is SicEm365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty can help you become the high-performance man that you want to be. How does he do that? Well, first of all, you have to contact him. Go online, PettyClinicLowT.com. In the top left corner, there's a phone number. You can call, or you can reach them through the website, and you can tell them that I sent you. And they will set you up with an appointment to get your blood work, lab work, get the numbers of what's in your blood when it comes to testosterone, because 1 out of every 3 men have symptomatic issues when it comes to low testosterone. And you could be 50 and everything's fine. You could be 35 and your testosterone is starting to dip. It doesn't really matter, although it does happen as you get older, but some, you're lucky. 1 out of every 3, you're not. symptomatic issues, including sleeping habits, is not very good. You don't sleep well. Your focus is down. You're lethargic. Something's not feeling right, and including whatever your problem might be in the bedroom, whether it's ED and or your sex drive. So how do you fix that? Well, one way is to check your testosterone levels with Dr. Kent Petty at pettycliniclowt.com. Go online, tell them what you want, tell them who you heard it from, and also tell them you're interested. And if your testosterone levels are too low, then Dr. Petty will put you in a program to increase those levels so you can then become the high-performance man that you want to be, thanks to pettycliniclowt.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Goodness, all night long.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Many of you coming in with us on YouTube. We'll hear from a lot of you in a moment. Also, 254-339-1122 if you'd like to call us and hear your voice, discuss what you heard from Nicki Collen. Also on the text line, same number, 254-339-1122, and even a lot of you that have responded in the forums, in the premium section as well. We tried to maneuver as much as we could because running that interview while she's still doing her press conference would have been like, okay, let's throw it up in the sky and a balloon up in the air. So she finished. Mac then answered some questions, and we kind of juggled Melvin Hunt and Lane Garrison, 12 Mighty Orphans, and also with Nicki Collen. Craig Smoak is here. Paul and I were a part of the interview. Jack and Armstrong as well. I'm going to read some of the text and tweets. Craig, your thoughts about some of what you listened to or heard from her?
Yeah, I think that she's obviously very personable. I think she's just kind of open and honest and easy to talk with. Seems like she'll not have any problems communicating and being in line with the players. I just saw a picture of a few minutes ago of her and some of the players, and Alyssa Smith was there. I think Queen Egbo was there. Kamaria McDaniel, Jaden Owens, and there was one other that I can't remember right now. I think it was one of the guards, but maybe Sarah Andrews might have been. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, she seems to be getting on pretty well here early on, and yeah, I just I don't have one thing in particular that she said that really sticks out. I just think that she's a breath of fresh air, and just seems like she'll be good with the media, and obviously has a lot of confidence in herself. I like that she's not at all or any way trying to pretend like Kim didn't build some legacy here and that she's just walking in and whatever. No, she's acknowledging the past, but also is very unafraid of the future, and I think that's great.
In fact, took that on in the first sentence of what she said. Also, this is from Dwight Young on YouTube. Very impressed with Nicki Collen. The interview and press conference will be interested in the assistant coach game of dominoes, which she mentioned to us in the interview, how that will, of course, move forward. Also, a few other comments as well on the text line from Scotty B. I love the interview with Nicki Collen. Did watch the press conference as well. I can say I'm impressed with her answers to the questions and her opening statement. She's very authentic in a way that shows passion, intelligence, humility in her. Now I'm ready to see what she can do with the program. And yes, she made it clear to us her first priority is trying to recruit her own roster. And then also as she's doing that, believe me, working on the assistant coaching staff, which includes whatever decisions are made by TMSer, Bill Brock, and who she brings in as well. With her husband also a coach, you have a feeling that could be a connection, but we're not so sure exactly how that works out. But it won't be because of any money. They're not going to lose anybody because of the money. As far as the assistant coaching staff, they're still very committed to making sure that stays intact if they need to. But now it's just depending on where does somebody want to feel it's a better fit, he or she, with Baylor and or somewhere else, whether it's an LSU or a possibility of another option as well. 254-339-1122.
What do you think about that adjective used when talking about a women's basketball coach at Baylor? Humility. It's the first time I've heard that in a while.
No, hey, you know what?
Just saying, look, we're not in this situation if that adjective, I mean, we're not talking about this topic if humility was anywhere near it.
This might have been the greatest moment of your career.
Yeah.
It just
Other
is.
than the top 5 at 5 a couple weeks ago.
And I'm not trying to throw shade. I'm not, but that's the thing that, ego is what drove this. And out of control ego is what drove this. And when you have out of control ego and then someone who doesn't suffer that kind of thing in Mac Rhodes and Linda Livingstone, that's not what game they play. And that's what happened is someone's ego, got damaged or interfered with. Someone was in the flight path of it. And, we have a new women's basketball coach at Baylor now. And I, for one, am excited.
SJ8999. Well, I had my doubts after yesterday, but I'm excited she's here, looking forward to next season. Demas thought she was great today. And from Girl Friday, awkward.
I don't feel awkward.
No, I think you just surprised everybody with what you said. But, everybody kind of tap dances around it or walks on eggshells or did for a time period. And, there was some maybe personality traits that were a bit more rough than others, and it is kind of refreshing. News always good, right? Or most of the time, news always fun, and it's fresh and it's unpredictable, and you're learning, and it's all that. So, there's going to be that immediate excitement, but I do think a big part of that is just that there's kind of a different feel now than there was previously, of just the feel of the program, the feel of the person leading the program, and I think that's all very positive. So hopefully that continues, and hopefully she puts together a really nice staff. I know that was one thing that she said was the staff's not put together. It's going to take her a little bit of time to do that, but she also addressed recruiting and said, that obviously Texas will be a big part of what they do, but at Baylor you can recruit coast to coast, so that's what she's going to do. That's what you would expect. But yeah, I just think that she's knocked it out of the park for her debut press conference, and if you're Mack Rhoades and Linda Livingstone, you're walking out of that thing feeling pretty good about your hire and feeling pretty good about the future, as I think a lot of fans are who maybe were unsure about an hour ago.
Gunny, Paul from the top rope.
And he's right, though. I mean, he is right.
You know what? We have tried to cover this for the last couple of 2 or 3 weeks, and we've tried to bring you all the information we could possibly bring you from what we know, not from others telling us, but what we did when it comes to due diligence. And I've said from the beginning that one of the things that created this was because of needing more. And that's fine until you have basically everything. And I also mentioned drawing the line in the sand with the arena, and I'll go to my grave knowing that's exactly what was said to me. And yes, wanting someone to have their back scratched or wanting some sort of, hey, we love you, that's already in place. The salaries, the staff, the amenities, everything, it was already in place. If that's what you wanted to do, then that's where you are, and now we can move forward because Nicki Collen is the head coach at Baylor.
Yeah, I mean, that's all pretty much old news now, and it's on to Nicki Collen. I mean, it'd be one thing if the coaching search was still going on or if she hadn't been introduced yet, but all that's now been taken care of. So it's signed, sealed, delivered. She's the Lady Bears head coach. She's on campus. She's recruiting. She's doing all those different things. And look, I wouldn't care nearly as much about women's basketball if it wasn't for Kim. I certainly wouldn't have cared the last few years if Baylor was just a middle-of-the-road team. She provided some excitement in the spring when the men maybe weren't. This year it was their turn, but it was really cool to see them, man, if they could have beaten UConn, I mean, I think probably everything is different right now because any demands would have been, hey, we just won a national title, or probably would have won a national title. So, I don't want to, disparage Kim in any way. I hope she's happy in Baton Rouge. She did everything she could possibly do for Baylor. I don't know that 4 or 5 titles would have made more of a difference than having 3 already. But it was obviously just something that needed to go, differently in the future, and parties needed to have a fresh start, and that's what's happened. And so good luck to her, and good luck to Nicki Collen.
Here's a couple more. Love her. Give this woman time before judgments are made. I can see how she passed the test of can you follow in Kim's footsteps. She's genuine, easy to listen to, comes across extremely confident in carving her own path. I'm excited to see where she takes us. She can get it done. Think she will recruit very well. Definitely comes off as no BS. Also notice she referenced integrating with all the other sports programs, working well with her staff. Mac brought those up too. Also, she knocked it out of the park, knocked it over the fence. Very impressed. Thought she did a great job. Love her. One of the reasons Matt Rule has succeeded in life is his ability to speak, to properly communicate with everyone. I see this in Coach Collen as well. She will garner the support of almost everyone she speaks to. I had serious doubts about her selection, but I can now see why Mac chose her. After listening to her, she needs our support. Great job, this and that, all the other things that are said as well. So there's some of the reaction to Nicki Collen today in the press conference and also the interview with us.
Yeah, and that support made a big difference for Kim Mulkey, and it'll make a giant difference for Nicki Collen if she can have that same type of support. Now, she obviously has to earn that support, and she'll do that starting now, building relationships, but ultimately it's going to come down to wins on the court, and that's why she's been hired, is to do that. So, if that takes care of itself, then I think it's going to be gravy for her moving forward. But yeah, I mean, she does need that support. She needs those people who are so passionate about traveling with the Lady Bears to every place known to man, or, we're there at the beck and call for Kim when they needed something, whatever it may be. I think that if you supported the program in that way with Kim at the helm, then, Nicki Collen deserves your support as well. And if that happens, there's not like this disgruntled, like, well, I'm not going to do anything until, this happens or whatever. Well, that could set the program back. So I like the hire. I like the way she's come across, and we'll see on the basketball end. But that seems to be the end where everybody is the most confident in her abilities is the basketball side.
Now I do realize that my comments might have stirred up a few people that are loyal to Kim, and for those people, if after their dinner tonight, right when our show ends at 6:00, before Jeopardy starts, I'll have to sneak out of here probably at a normal pace. So I'll be all right. If you guys want to put on a really loud episode of Matlock while I'm leaving, just to distract them, then I can.
From Rod, time for the coach Nicki Collen machine to grind. That's from Bear Force, by the way. Rod, appreciate that as well.
Yeah, I do like this picture, and yeah, now it's time to get to work, right? Mm-hmm. That's what time it is now. Like, this is all the fun part, and you see your office for the first time, and you see the campus, and you see the supporters. But I'm loving this picture of her and some of the team. Obviously that's the next part is seeing what happens to the roster. But looking at it here, you got Caitlin Bickle, you got Egbo, you got Kamaria McDaniel. You've got, can't see with a couple of masks on, but that's who I couldn't think of.
That's Sarah Andrews.
Yeah, Sarah Andrews.
That's the point guard, the five-star point guard.
Yeah.
Gusters, of course, also came out of MacArthur and Irving. She's on her way to LSU, but right. Sarah Andrews, of course, is without question one of those that you have to keep. Along with everybody else you try to keep. And I've already mentioned for now almost a week that Jordan Lewis, well, no, not a week, but that she was going to wait and see. I've told you that for about a week and a half, but also she's on board as of even Monday when the announcement came down that Nicki Collen was the new coach at Baylor.
And I do wonder, too, how much, and I don't really know this. I mean, I know what the pull of the NBA is for basketball players, and I know how big of a deal it is that Scott Drew is now starting to really establish a group of guys in the league, whereas they, quite frankly, really haven't had that the entire time that I've been around here. There's been a guy here or there that's made the NBA and hung around or whatever, but for the most part, guys have kind of been in and out, mostly in Europe, and now you're starting to see, and you'll see even more so after this next draft, that continue to grow. Freddie Gillespie sticking in the league is a big deal as well. And then, if Butler joins, and we know Davion Mitchell will. But I don't know. I would imagine it's got to be the same for, female players in the WNBA. Even though the WNBA doesn't get nearly the attention or the money or any of that. So I would think that that's a big draw for, her in recruiting is to say, like, hey, yeah, I've worked alongside all these players that you grew up watching, and I've coached in the WNBA, and I know what it takes to get to that level. I think that will be a big pull for her in recruiting.
No question about it. In fact, Melvin Hunt discusses that. We'll have him at 5:20 today. When we come back, again, we've heard now from Nicki Collen, our interview from earlier today. We've heard from yesterday, Mac Rhodes, Michelle Vopel, who just tweeted at us about the reaction from a current player, remember Monique Billings, and then also the general manager, Chris Yanko. The reactions are coming in. We will have more and more as the next day or two go by. Coming up next, though, Sam Houston State football. Remember, they were delayed, did not play in the fall. They're playing in the semifinals of the Division I AA championship. They just beat three-time defending champion North Dakota State. Two of their offensive linemen were at Baylor at one point, Eleasah Anderson and Prince Pines. Eleasah Anderson will join us, and then Dale Bonner, who's joining Scott Drew, Jerome Tang, John Jacobs, Alvin Brooks and company as a part of Baylor basketball from Fairmont State at 4:30. SicEm365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Today, I believe, they might be the day they're supposed to get their shipment of their new single-release barrel from Balcones. The last time it was a single malt that was absolutely fantastic. Steve Chapman tells me it's going to be something different. He's going to let me know that later when he's, opened the stock and gotten everything loaded. So that's coming up. So it might be there today, but it might be there later this week. So it's supposed to be there sometime this week, maybe today at Riverbend Liquor and Wine. So if you're a Balcones fan and like single barrel whiskey releases, which are great, it's the only, once that, those bottles are gone from that barrel, that's the only time you can have that. It's very unique kind of thing you can do. That's going on at Riverbend Liquor and Wine right now. Plus, just their great selection of everything else, whether it's craft beer, other spirits, wine. Fantastic. Drive-through window, you've heard me talk about it. It is efficient and fast, and their staff is always courteous and knowledgeable and can always help you out. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street, a hidden gem in Waco. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nicki Group Insurance Agency. With the Nicki Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nicki Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nicki Group at 1-800-258-8302.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Don's Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Arturo Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don's Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 superfan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
All right, here we go. Sunday, Sam Houston State, the Bearcats, beat North Dakota State, 3-time defending national titles, and they've won others besides that. And now in the semifinals, and they will now host James Madison in the semifinals. And we're now joined by former Baylor offensive lineman and Sam Houston State tackle Eleasah Anderson on SicEm365 Radio. Paul Craig, and I'm David Smoak. Eleasah, hey, thanks for your time. Great to talk to you again. We've had you on back when you were first coming out of high school. What has this run been like to be a part of this now in the semifinals?
First off, I want to say hello, David. How you doing? It's been a while since 2017 when I committed to Baylor. Been an experience, but this experience been very shocking. A lot of adversity. You know, we don't have a locker room as far as at Sam Houston. We're building a new locker room, and then also, you know, we use the weight room for, our locker rooms to, change and go on the field. We had to use the stairs a couple times, but, this experience, being able to be in the semifinals is a great experience, and I'm excited for this opportunity against JMU.
When you guys found out you were going to play in the spring, what kind of worry was that on your part that, how is this going to work? Or, are we going to be ready for this? Do we have to wait? What's the attrition factor? And how did you get through all that when you had to wait through the fall when you normally play?
It surprised me because it really changed all my perspective of what I wanted to do in the fall. I had a lot of goals. I had a lot of accolades that I wanted to, achieve. But, God, gave us another chance to be able to play in the spring. And the reason why is because we didn't want to play for money. We're not a team that wants to play for money. We're a team that wants to play for championships. And we've seen the opportunity as like, we got to come hard for this championship. We might have 6 games in the season and 4 games, in the playoffs. But, this gives us an opportunity, to compete for a championship is what Sam Houston State does.
Eleasah, I know everybody, signs on National Signing Day and they think like, hey, I'm going to play for 4 years and win games and then go off it. And that's not always the path. And more often than not, that's the path. And that wasn't the path for you. But you're playing for a championship. Just how much has the journey, like starting at Baylor, going through, just trials, tribulations, ending up at Sam Houston State, just this whole journey for you, how much has this, grown you as a person and as a young man?
It has grown a lot for me. I went through a lot, being young for 2 years being at Baylor. Just, not getting enough, experience that I wanted. So I felt like, I needed to change something, be closer to my family, be closer to my mom, to help her, build a dream that I wanted to do. So, I had 2 choices to go to school, SFL at Sam Houston. And my mom, she told me, Sam Houston was, the best option. It's close home, the opportunity to win championships and opportunity for me to get my degree. So it changed a lot for me in my perspective, opened my eyes a lot, getting closer to the Lord, getting closer to football, learn football more and more as I play football here.
What's it like to beat North Dakota State?
Oh, man. It's basically like, you playing, like you being at Clemson, being Alabama. It's like they're, the top dogs in the FCS, and it's, it's a blessing, just giving us the opportunity to play that because we put ourselves in that position to play that team. And, being able to play North Dakota State and beating them at home was the greatest feeling ever. We had, a lot of tears, a lot of joy, and it felt great to, be a dynasty team.
We talked to Eleasah Anderson at Sam Houston, offensive tackle. They just beat North Dakota State. James Madison is next. Eleasah, I think about this because, you mentioned SFA. That's a rival. That's where I went to school. But they played in the fall. What was it like watching others do that while you're waiting, knowing you have a chance if it ever does get to the spring? And even then, it was kind of a crapshoot. What was that like not playing?
I told a lot of my friends, I was like, man, they're so lucky to, play football in the fall. They get an opportunity, to step on the field and play football. It's a different experience when you're on game day versus practice. Practice, you practice your teammates, you build a bond or whatever, but on game day, it's a different bond. It's a different feeling, and seeing all these different things in our conference, being able to play in the fall, it kind of hurt us. It gave us, motivation of like, okay, we got to play someday, somehow. And when Coach Keeler told us we was going to be able to play in the spring, that brought joy to us. We was excited. Everybody was ready to, to compete, to be able to play football again. And it was an exciting moment. But, watching them in the fall did really hurt me. It hurt me. I was, at home watching them on TV every Sunday or every Saturday. It hurted me, telling us that we was not able to play in the fall. We couldn't even play, money games, but we didn't want the money games anyway. We wanted to play for championship. So it hurted me. So, yeah.
Well, now you're in a semifinal game. James Madison, they've got a rich history as well. Your thoughts about being in this moment?
This moment is surreal. Being in high school, I've been in the playoffs for 2 years and never, ever being able to reach the third round or the semifinals. And this is an opportunity that I'm never going to take for granted. This is, a blessing to be here, especially going against a dynasty team again, James Madison. We're going to be able to compete. We're going to be able to play at home in Huntsville. So this is an opportunity and a good challenge for us, and we'll be ready to go.
Eleasah, obviously, there's the college football playoff, and so I guess that's kind of a mini tournament, 4 teams. But being in the FCS playoffs where they've got this big expanded group, and now you go first round, quarterfinals, semi, all that. What do you think of that format? Do you enjoy that expanded playoff format in college football?
I actually do, because it gives you an opportunity to keep playing football. As versus, the FBS, you have to be top four to, being able to play in the playoffs. Versus the FCS, you could be a top 25 team, and the 24 teams get in to play. It's a different experience. It's, every game gets harder and harder when you play. Versus, in the FBS, they have bowl games. They have, the championship games and all that stuff. You have to have a certain record to make bowl games here. I think it's 7 or 8 wins to make it. So giving us this opportunity, to play in the FCS playoffs, it's a blessing. When we got that call on ESPN, they told us we was the number 2 seed. It brought joy to us because the hard work that we put in, at this moment to be in an FCS playoff was a blessing, especially, them showing it to 16 teams in the playoffs. We had to, get the opportunity to play in the playoffs. So it was surreal.
So what's the grind like right now for playoffs when you don't have a locker room and all that stuff? I guess the scheduling of it, when you have to lift weights and all that stuff, how do you guys balance all that?
So what we do is basically at the beginning, when we first came here, they told us we had no locker room. So meaning we don't have a locker room, we don't have a team meeting room, we don't have, trainer room. So we have our trainer room, which is 10 minutes away from campus. We carry our, equipment like our helmets and shoulder pads. We carried us to the house. We carried it all the way back to the football field every single day. And it's really hard, carrying your helmet and shoulder pads every single day. And we've been, carrying it since the first day they told us that they was going to build this new locker room. And then for us, lifting weights wise, we'll lift weights after practice. We'll lift at 6 a.m. They haven't done much to the weight room, so that's a good thing. We'll be able to still do our, strength and conditioning in the weight room and on the field. But most likely, it just feels different. Being able to go to the locker room is quick to go to your car and go home. But now you have to go all the way around to the stadium, go down the stairs, go back up the stairs to go home, and then carrying your stuff. It's really hard. But it created a bond for us. It created, a team that, that can compete with anybody. So it worked a lot for us.
By the way, Matt Rule said hi. We had Coach Rule on the show yesterday. He said hi, and a few others. Is it true, Eleasah, and you've got a personality. You can hear it and feel it right now. And when we first met you or talked with you back when you committed out of Taylor High School in A-Leaf, when you were on a visit to TCU, were you watching a basketball game that had Baylor in it and you were rooting for Baylor?
I can say I did. Yes. I did.
How did that go over?
It did not go well. Coach P is a true TCU fan, a diehard fan, and it just hurt his heart. Me coming over there to watch the game and all that. But yes, I did.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Eleasah, of the Baylor men winning the national championship? Did you get a chance to watch much of that?
Oh, I did. Even if I'm at Sam Houston, I still support the men's basketball, men's football, every sport at Baylor. It was, great seeing them win, especially Jared Butler. We had the art class together. Tristan Clark, he was my guy. Mark, those are all my guys that I knew when I was there. And I was very proud of them. I congratulated them, winning the national championship. Because it's hard winning a national championship. It's hard winning, and it's hard winning a national championship. So, yeah, I was very excited for them.
We'll take care of business against James Madison. Even as an SFA alum, I wish you the best. And we've had, your coach on. We've had others on. In fact, we wish you the best and take care of business. Great win against North Dakota State. Always enjoyed your personality. Great to hear your voice again, Eleasah. It's great to see that you're having success, and good luck, okay?
Yes, sir. Good luck to you. Thank you so much for bringing me up here. You can invite me anytime you want. Thank you so much.
Eleasah.
And tell Coach Rule I said hello to him as well.
All right. I'll pass it. He might just do that. I don't know if I guess he can. Yeah, sure he can. He can text you. I'll get him to say that. That's Eleasah Anderson. What a personality. I'll always remember that. And by the way, it's like as an alum of SFA, the Stephen F. Austin State University takes forever, and a lot of people screw up the way that name is said. And I'm saying this because Sam Houston State University, they really want to kind of get back to just being known as Sam Houston. Right? And I get that because it's all and so Sam Houston, offensive tackle. Thanks, to having him on the show because they're in the semifinals. They beat North Dakota State. There's Division I teams that can't do that.
Well, I mean, we can't have a expanded playoff in the FBS because the same teams would just always win. Oh, wait, there's upsets that actually can't happen. And you look at that bracket, and they have like their top 4 seeds, and then everybody else is kind of filled in. But there's competitive games, like first-round matchups, 19-10. Now, there's a couple blowouts, of course, but, you at least give teams the opportunity. And, I mean, I'm looking at 3 or 4 scores that could have, that were within a field goal or a touchdown that could have easily gone the other way and were potentially massive upsets. And so, hey, it's kind of nice to have a tournament and give teams the opportunity to just have the opportunity, and you never know what could happen.
None of the excuses that the FBS level give really hold water because there's always an example you can disprove it. It's, we can't do that. It's too many games. Well, it's the same amount of games that the FCS is playing. They have less money than you. We can't do it because they'll be the same teams. Well, you just debunked that. What about school? Really, you take the basketball team out of school for a month every year. I mean, like, what do you?
What about school? Football, people are graduating like right now, and football's still playing. So they were able to navigate that.
Yeah. All right, we have Dale Bonner coming up. He yesterday made the commitment to play for Scott Drew and Baylor, the defending national champions out of Fairmont State. Boy, this has what appears to be kind of an Adam Flagler feel to it. We'll discuss that with Dale Bonner coming up next. This is SicEm365 Radio. IdealMRI.com can help you save hundreds and hundreds of dollars and maybe even thousands of dollars. If you have something that hurts so much your doctor wants to get an MRI, you then say, how about Ideal MRI? Or you tell them, that's where I'm going. And here's why. No matter insurance or not, IdealMRI.com, Ideal MRI, their business, their office location in the Central Texas Marketplace in Waco, $497 for an MRI every single time. $497 or less every single time. And they'll help you with your insurance and all that too. The average MRI costs $1,100. So do the math. $497 or less. The average is $1,100. And so that means there might be some that are $2,000, $1,800, $1,450, whatever it is. And Ideal MRI has a state-of-the-art technology. The machine they have is the mother of all the state-of-the-art MRI machines. I know, I've been there. Visited them over a year ago to get my left shoulder checked. Went through the process of online, walked in the door. So easy. Not some large waiting room waiting forever and ever to get your name called. It was simple, it was sweet, and it was easy, and it also was something that was comfortable, and not all MRIs for me have been because of space around my face when you're in the machine. They did a great job, the techs and the specialist. And by the way, then Dr. Rob Maxey called me a little bit later that same day, and told me what he saw. He then sent me the pictures, and I sent that to Dr. David Haynes at Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics so he could see it as well. Dr. Rob Maxey and his staff, his partners, have done an amazing job to help make sure you save money and find out what's wrong at IdealMRI.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Allen Samuels is holding the Ram Spotlight Sales Event on the new 2021 Ram Lone Star Crew Cab trucks at Allen Samuels. The three-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year is built to serve. This truck is perfect for whatever your lifestyle calls for. Impressive towing, high-strength steel frame, and the smoothest, most comfortable ride of any truck. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco. Come see the Ram Lone Star Crew Cab. The Ram Spotlight Sales Event won't last long. Visit Allen Samuels today or online at AllenSamuelsDCJ.com.
Come by, let's be friends.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
All right, here we go, this 4 o'clock hour. And, man, I tell you what a day it's been. Nicki Collen introduced as Baylor's new women's basketball coach. Our conversation with her, the press conference right before that. Melvin Hunt coming up, Atlanta Hawks assistant coach at 5:20. John Machota wraps up with the Cowboys in the draft, but right now joined by Dale Bonner from Fairmont State to now Baylor, the defending national champions. Dale made the decision to be a transfer to Baylor for Scott Drew and company, and Dale joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Dale, thanks for your time. When did Baylor get on your radar? And thanks for your time, and congratulations on your decision. When did Baylor kind of become on your radar?
Thank you. And, 2-3 weeks ago, they became on my radar.
So, well, obviously 3 weeks ago or a month ago, they won the national championship. What was it like getting the opportunity to transfer into the national champions? I mean, people go in the transfer portal and they may not get that shot. How did Coach Drew and his staff come about contacting you and bringing you aboard?
Well, Coach Jon hit me up and he just took it from there. I actually got to get on the Zoom with all of them and just build a relationship with them, and it just went from there.
Dale, what's it like being in the transfer portal?
It's a little hectic, but it worked out for me, and I'm happy with the decision that I made.
Dale, I got to tell you, I watched video, and I'm by no means someone that's an analyst when it comes to X's and O's. I thought some guys were like can't miss, and they did, and I've seen guys that I didn't think would make it, and they did. So that's not what I do, but I saw your video, and I know it's a highlight tape, but my goodness, you're explosive, you shoot it well, you come off picks, you look so talented. How did you fly under the radar coming out of high school, or did you just feel like Fairmont State was the right fit? I
appreciate that, and I just felt like Fairmont was the decision for me to make. That was actually the only offer I had, and I just took it and ran with it, and it ended up working out for me.
It was the only offer out of high school?
Yeah, that was the only offer that I had.
How many people contacted you? Don't have to give us the names, but how many schools contacted you once you went in the transfer portal?
20 plus schools contacted me.
Man, so if we're looking at the transfer portal, a lot of it's negative, but he's a prime example of where it's a positive because clearly he was under the radar way too much, and then all of a sudden here are all these schools. That's pretty awesome. So there's a definite transfer portal success story.
Mm-hmm.
So Dale, what was different about nobody calling you before and then everybody calling you this time?
At first, it was overwhelming. I didn't really expect that many people to call me, but it was just all about hearing what the coaches had to say and just going from there and just making sure I made the best decision that was best for me.
So you have seen what Baylor has done, won the national title, and you know as well as anybody, Dale, that they have done an incredible job of mixing camaraderie, chemistry, all of what they do, talent that fits the pieces with transfers. From Adam Flagler to Davion Mitchell to Jared Butler, and I could go on and on and on. There's others as well. Maceo Teague, how much of an influence did that have on you and what you saw them do?
I think it had an impact, but it was more of just building a relationship with the coaching staff and actually hearing how they could help me develop my game even more.
What is your you're going to be here in the summer? You enroll this summer?
Yes, I will be. Yep.
Okay. And now,
have you ever been to Baylor's campus, Dale?
No, I haven't. No.
Have you seen a picture of the campus?
Yeah, I've seen it online. They showed it to me on Zoom.
Yeah, you're going to love it. And we have had this story now for weeks, but again today, Athletic Director Mack Rhodes, he said this to us weeks ago, but also mentioned it again. They're about to, in about a year, start churning dirt for a brand new arena. How much did that come into play, or did the coaching staff talk with you about that, and what did they say if they did?
Yeah, they told me about the new arena that they probably are gonna build, and I mean it didn't really have any effect on me at all. Actually, it was just more, like I said, it was just more so just making sure it was the best fit, and of course they could help me become a better basketball player, but just becoming a better young man.
Dale, how much did? Focus. Oh, I'm sorry to cut you off there, Dale. How much?
Oh no, you're good.
Thank you. How much did they bring up Freddie Gillespie and his journey? Because I know in the press release announcing your signing, they talked about Freddie's journey from D2 to now he's with the Toronto Raptors. Was that discussed at all?
Oh yeah, it was. They brought it up, and they just said if he can do it, you could do it as well as being able to play at Baylor, and they just wanted to make sure I was fully comfortable coming and all that stuff. So I think that was another reason why I felt comfortable that they could help me get prepared to play at that level.
All right, I want you to describe, and I mentioned the highlights, but I want you to describe, if you're someone watching Dale Bonner play, give me a description of what you think they see.
I think they see a person that plays on both sides of the ball and just gets after it and does whatever his team needs him to do.
And you're joining a program that just won the national title, and I love the fact you're coming in and you say, hey, I want to be a part of this, knowing that they have a bunch of talent. What part of that is it comes into play about you wanting to be a part of this team, knowing the competition is going to be amazing?
Just like you said, just won the national championship, winning culture, and just guys who want to just get after it each and every day. And I'm just willing to do whatever I need to do for the team.
So I like to ask this question a lot of people, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Who put the basketball in your hands first? Where did your love for the game of basketball stem from?
My dad actually put the ball in my hand, and I think I was in kindergarten, and ever since I never put the ball down. Just kept working, and,
What's the lineage?
Still writing my own story.
Yeah, well, you are, and we appreciate your time and appreciate you being a part of the show. What's the lineage, athletic lineage in your family as far as those around you, those you grew up with and you're part of your family?
Well, I think it's all over the place. I've had cousins that play football, track, gymnastics, just a little bit of everything. I think I'm really the only one that, kept playing basketball, I shall say.
Well, you play it really well. You play it incredibly well.
Yeah.
And I mean that. I
appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because you're on the show. We would have said that. I watched the video. I'm thinking, okay, I got to be able to talk to you and get some information from you. And I was like, my gosh, you explode off the screen as well. Now, what if someone said, yeah, but it's Fairmont State? What do you say to them?
I really don't, get into all that or whatever university that, I started as. It's where you finish. And I'm just willing to work and do whatever I have to do to, whatever my team needs me to do now that I'm a part of Baylor basketball, just whatever I need to do.
Dale, did you have much experience or any previous relationships with current team your future teammates? Did you know any of these guys, or is this going to be kind of brand new, getting to know pretty much the whole team?
It'll just be brand new for me. Okay. I don't know anybody specifically, no.
Okay, and man, I'm telling you right now, to get a call from them, the interest for them.
Yeah, I mean, to get a call from Baylor's a pretty big deal. But there's a handful of guys that'll be going through the same thing with Kinjo and also Langston Love and Kendall Brown, Jeremy Sohan. So it'll be a good new group coming in.
Yeah, Dale, the group you're joining they were a top 5 high school recruiting class, and then James Akinjo coming in from Arizona. We had him on last week, and then you as well. Man, this was already a highly ranked class. How much fun are you having right now knowing you're about to get to Baylor and be a part of helping defend the national title?
I'm excited. I'm eager to get to learn my new teammates and all that good stuff and build a relationship with them and the coaching staff. So, I'm excited and I'm ready to work.
We have a picture of you up on the screen. Put that up again if you don't mind, guys. Are those pork chops on the side, your side?
Mutton chops.
Mutton chops, I'm sorry.
Yeah, they are. My dad fools around with me with that too. It's just in West Virginia. I didn't really trust anybody cutting my hair out there, so I wouldn't get a haircut or anything. So I usually don't keep them.
No, don't. I like them. I'm giving you permission.
Well,
Dale. Not that you care, but I'm giving you permission.
I'll tell you this, Dale. There's plenty of barbershops around here that'll hook you up. So we won't have that worry around here.
Yeah. The other thing is,
that's good to know.
You're about to get on a team with Matthew Meyer and Jackson Moffitt, who both have mullets, so they can't judge us.
Don't ask them for hair advice, but anybody else would be good.
Yeah.
Man, you sound like such a happy young man and individual. It's a great thing to have you on the show. We appreciate you. I know Baylor is thrilled. It's official. Thanks for being a part of the show. What time do you get here, the first week in June, or is that when you expect to be in Waco?
Yes, I'll be there June 1st. So.
Okay. All right. Can't wait to meet you, Dale. Thanks for your time. Good luck, and thanks for being a part of the show.
Thank you for bringing me on. Nice to meet you guys.
Man, I like him. I mean, I like, it's hard not to like a lot of them. It doesn't that seem like he fits who we know?
It's a Scott Drew guy. Yeah. He's a Scott, can tell. You can always tell they're Scott Drew guys.
He said Coach John is John Jacobs. Yeah.
I'll tell you though, going back to that transfer portal thing, you do see the benefits of it. There's two sides of the coin. There's Eleasah Anderson and a couple of other former Baylor players that go down a level to Sam Houston State, and that's always been the case. Like, we've always seen that side of it, but we really haven't seen the other side of it. And I'm not for guys from like Ohio State transferring to Alabama. Like, that's where I really have an issue with it, because then it's very clear, blatant cheating and recruiting that's going on. But a guy from Fairmont State playing really well and well enough to go to a Big 12 school, I think that's right. I think that's a good thing. And it sucks, for Fairmont State, but it's also just the reality of, the magnitude of the programs, So if you got a shot to go play for the defending national champions, the champion of champions at the highest level, he should have that opportunity. So I think that's one of those good transfer portal stories, and we don't get a lot of those. And it's kind of nice to hear how well that worked out for him. And, he sounds like a Scott Drew and staff type of guy. So just I guess enjoy this last month because then it's all work after that.
Went to Shaker Heights in Ohio, and he can put it up. And if you haven't seen his, and I know highlight tapes. You know, when somebody is being recruited, a lot of times parents or others want to send out highlight tapes. Coaches want to see what you're doing when you're down 20 or up 20, or you're having a bad night, or things aren't going well. What you're like, how's your demeanor? But his highlight tape is spectacular.
It's like watching a wide receiver and the entire highlight tape is deep balls, but you don't ever see like crossing routes or, a guy take a short catch and turn it into a long gain, or the blocking aspect of it as well. So, yeah, you got to dig deeper than just highlight tapes, but his seems to be pretty thorough. His is not one of those that's kind of trying to fool you by just showing the one or two good things that or the one or two things that he's good at doing. He's pretty well-rounded. And, look, they wouldn't bring in anybody if they weren't a really good basketball player. I saw somebody on the board comment last night, and I will say, looking at the thread on the SicEm365 premium page, which is blowing up lately, definitely come join the community over there. I mean, a lot of women's basketball talk. That thread's going crazy over Nicki Collen, and a lot of people seem to have kind of 180 maybe from where they were a couple of days ago. But, just going back to Bonner, I think he'll be a great cultural fit, and excited to see what he does, because if he's anything like the Adam Flaglers or the Freddie Gillespies or, the examples that they brought in from the lower level, he will be a really good player when all is said and done.
Well, so Baylor's women's basketball coach was introduced today, and Nicki Collen. Obviously, the news came down late Sunday. She was introduced as well on Tuesday officially. It came out, and then yesterday was a dude that did the tour and all that stuff. Today, the introductory press conference. She had a battering ram of interviews, including one with us and others. So you get a chance to know her a little bit more. Jon Machota is going to join us in the 5 o'clock hour to give us one more little peek back and review of the Cowboys, plus Antoine Woods being released today, the defensive tackle. And then I asked for just a couple of notes about Nicki Collen from Melvin Hunt of the Atlanta Hawks. He gave me 27 minutes about not only Nicki Collen, but also Scott Drew and Jerome Tang and Alvin Brooks and Baylor men's basketball. And all that's coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They've got the 22-year anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr Motors. Big anniversary savings on all new and pre-owned cars and trucks on the lot. You get 3 big rows of first-class seating, power, technology, safety, superior ride. All of those qualities make the Enclave second to none during the Richard Carr anniversary sales event. Save $8,500 on Buick Enclaves. How about the power and luxury combined in the GMC Sierra truck? Save $8,000 on 2021 GMC Sierras. Save $7,000 off 2021 GMC Acadias. Save $6,750 off 2021 GMC Terrains. How's that for deals? Plus, plenty of others on pre-owned vehicles and other 2021 models. Richard Carr Motors, your local family dealer. They're also proud Baylor Bears, and they want to earn your business with free oil changes, great prices, and priority warranty service whenever you purchase a vehicle from Richard Carr. So stop by their clean and disinfected showroom to take a test drive, or they can bring the test drive to you. It's the big 22-year anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr. And Richard Carr Motors says, Sic'em Bears, congratulations to the national champion Baylor men's basketball team.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Sausage wrap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screen screens available, touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Jon Machota of The Athletic, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Over 900 yards of offense as Dalton gets it into the hands of C.D. Lamb. And he takes it in for another Cowboys touchdown. And an exclamation point here in Week 16.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments, with financial advisor Brad Wilson, investing his time and experience back to you and your money during today's changing times. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go. TheAthletic.com, and Jon Machota covers the Cowboys as well as you can. Joins us on Wednesdays at 5. Jon Machota joins us now live on SicEm365 Radio. I know we're going to get into the draft, and Paul is one of those that Jerry called about some of these character guys, and Paul said if they can play, then please let them play. But no, seriously, Jon, let's start with Antwaun Woods. They added a lot of players on one side of the ball. I'm sure there's also some nipping and tucking, a little bit of salary cap here and there. The decision to release Antwaun Woods.
I think it has a lot to do with just some of the pieces that they've added in the draft, but then also you just look at what they've been looking for out of their, not just their defensive linemen, but all of their defenders, and that's longer, bigger players. And Antwaun Woods does not fit into that group. He doesn't have that 34-inch plus arm length that a lot of these guys have that Dan Quinn has obviously been very interested in. Those are the guys that they were looking at in that pre-draft process, and then clearly they went out and drafted players like that. And so I know they're going to be more multiple on defense. Dan Quinn, in talking to him on Saturday night, he gave up some things, but you could tell he was still being really guarded. He didn't want to share too much. So they're going to be more multiple. It's not going to be the same traditional, type defense that we had seen from Rod Marinelli. It'll be more like that than what we saw with Mike Nolan, but it's not going to be just like where we're going to be, hey, you're going to most your pass rush from your 4 down linemen. We're not going to blitz very much. Like, I think they're going to mix it up a lot more depending on week to week what team they're playing. And so I think they wanted more guys that had a little bit more versatility. But no, this Quinton Bohanna kid that they took out of Kentucky in the 6th round, it's a good 330 plus, 6'4". That's going to be your guy that's going to be in the middle of that defense. He's not going to be a guy that's going to get much pass rush, similar to Antwan Woods. I think Antwan Woods had 2-3 sacks in his time these last 3 years with the Cowboys. The Bohanna kid is the same way. Like, I think he's had 2 or 3 sacks at Kentucky, but just hard nosed, big kid, hard to move, and that's what they need to play that one technique type situation in the middle there. So I think that had to do with it. And then here's the other thing: like, Bohanna's cheap, a 6th round draft pick. You don't have to pay him that much, And so and here's the thing: they're saving money on guys like Antwan Woods. That just shows you. Like, I know there's people that are still talking about, well, what about Richard Sherman and that? They're not spending money on any free agents that are left out there. I mean, that's why they kept all 11 picks that they made, because they're trying to, save some money here and there after having paid Dak, So I wouldn't be holding my breath on any Richard Sherman additions.
Yeah, they seem pretty confident in the safeties on 1-year deals, John, that they didn't address that in the draft, and they've got a few reaches. Do you feel they come out of this draft weekend strong, or are you kind of unsure of where they are?
I'm way more unsure than I was last year. I mean, last year, the way it fell to them, getting CeeDee Lamb and then Trayvon Diggs. I think for me to feel that same way this year, just giving you a hypothetical, would be as if the Broncos don't take Patrick Surtain, so then the Cowboys take him at 10, and then in the 2nd round, you're not going for a corner. And certainly not a corner that you have some off the field concerns. And maybe you take an Azeez Ojulari from Georgia, or Notre Dame linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who, I mean, these are 2 players that almost every single person had mock draft to go in the 1st round, and here they are, middle of the 2nd, and no one has taken them. I think then if they went that direction, I think maybe you feel a little bit more positive about it. But if you tell me Kelvin Joseph and Micah Parsons are, going to be on the field and play 16 games, like, I think they're good. I think they're very good players. It just, anytime you hear stuff about maturity concerns and off the field concerns with any of these guys, it just concerns you because of the fact of the Cowboys aren't like every other organization. Like, generally speaking, there's just, like, when you bring guys like that into the Cowboys organization, it just seems like there's just more chances for pitfalls, more chances to, because you're just in this big spotlight all the time. And so that's the only thing that makes you kind of wonder, like, okay, so what are you going to get? But if you tell me that both those guys are going to play and they're going to contribute and they're going to be starters, then I think they're in good shape, because that's what this draft largely is going to come down to is what did you do with those first 2 picks? Because you were addressing defense, and these are 2 guys that where you picked them at, in the positions you picked them at, they should be able to come in and start right away.
All right, so National Signing Day. Every college football coach in America says they got everybody they wanted. We know they're lying, even if they got a pretty good class. And now these damn televisions, there are these cameras in the war rooms, which the Cowboys, of course, have turned into a like their own little show, are making every single pick look like they just drafted Peyton Manning. Am I right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what it comes. I mean, they want to build it up. I mean, I personally, I don't know. I don't look at this draft like outside of those top quarterbacks. I don't look at this draft as like it's just loaded with future superstars. Yep. I don't. I mean, I saw the list of names because right now Micah Parsons is the favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and I just didn't. Looking down that list, there's just not a lot of guys in there. There's obviously not an Aaron Donald or a Chase Young or either the Bosa's or Myles Garrett. Like, there's nobody like that in the group, and you're kind of like, yeah, I could see Micah Parsons doing. I could see Micah Parsons having the most sacks out of anybody out of this rookie class, and so yeah, I agree with you though for sure that there's a lot of buildup with all of them.
John, you mentioned the off the field questions with Josh Ball. I could throw into the fact that like they didn't ability-wise, he didn't seem to me to be a guy that is going to come in and solve their tackle problems either. That's the most befuddling pick the Cowboys made to me.
I'm going to say that. Yeah. Well, it's 1A and 1B with me. The Nahshon Wright at the end of the third round was pretty head-scratching to me just because I couldn't find anybody anywhere that had him any higher than a 7th round to undrafted rookie free agent, priority free agent. So I would say they're close, but obviously the off-the-field concerns with Josh Ball and what happened at Florida State, those are extremely alarming. And the thing is, you know, you follow the Cowboys, obviously there's been issues with guys like Greg Hardy. You know, they've had issues in the past with these guys, specifically with domestic violence, that when you see that, you're just kind of like, I can see how a lot of GMs would treat it like, I don't care how good that player is, they're not going to be on our team. Jerry Jones has never been like that. Like, he is very big on giving guys the second chance thing. And he was very open about that after they took Josh Ball, and he was asked several different questions about it. I mean, he was very defensive about, you know, them looking into his background and feeling like that, you know, Josh Ball has moved on from this, matured from this. And I mean, you look at, you know, what was alleged to have happened. I read the Orlando Sentinel story. It just doesn't look good. And so you sit there and you're just like, why would you even take a chance on this guy? And that's because they think that he has a chance to possibly be a starting caliber offensive tackle. Mike McCarthy said that they kind of see him as a left tackle. And so you look at it as, if they think that they're getting a potential left tackle of the future with starting caliber ability, that's the type of stuff that, like, will get a Jerry Jones to say, all right, well, we can take a chance on a guy like this because of what the upside might be. But I'll say this, if he gets into any other issues when he's with the Cowboys, if anything happens, he's a 5th round pick. Like, they're not gonna keep dealing with this stuff. I mean, there's certain things that, like, you know, a Greg Hardy, and it shouldn't be this way, but if you're really talented, you tend to get more second, third chances, things like that. I just find it hard to believe if anything else happens with him, that they won't just automatically cut bait. But yeah, don't get me wrong, I agree with you. That pick left me scratching my head too. It just didn't make. And then the other thing was that I believe it was the very next pick right after it was Deontay Smith, another offensive tackle who was graded just about in the same area, you know, and you don't deal with a lot of that stuff. So it'll be interesting to see going forward how those two guys pan out with their NFL careers.
So, John, Michael Parsons in the 1st, Jabril Cox in the 4th. Keanu Neal is going to play linebacker, apparently. Leighton Vander Esch, they're not picking up the option. You know, obviously Jalen Smith there as well. What do you think about the Cowboys linebacking core and maybe what some of the picks say about, you know, what they're looking at moving forward?
You know, my biggest takeaway, there's two things that I took away, and this kind of ties into what we just talked about offensive tackle, is that I really wanted to see from this draft, like, you know, actions. I'm big on the actions speak louder than words. So on the offensive line, you know, we've been told by the Cowboys this whole entire time that they feel so great about Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins, and we're all kind of like, nah, we'll believe it when we see it. Let's see if they draft an offensive tackle. And they didn't until Ball. I mean, they had plenty they could have done in the 1st round, 2nd, they had 3 picks in the 3rd. Didn't address offensive tackle. I thought that spoke volumes about how they really feel about Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins' health. And then over at linebacker, you know, when Dan Quinn was first hired in January, he talked about how, like, I want to watch all of these guys. I want to watch all of, you know, these Cowboys players. You know, I know them, but I haven't studied every single one of them. I'm going to spend my time doing that. So that was obviously what he was doing going into pre-draft prep and before he started looking at what they needed to fill. You know, it's not that long ago that linebacker was looked at as one of the deepest positions, and certainly the deepest position on defense a couple years ago with Sean Lee, Leighton Vander Esch, and Jalen Smith. And so when I see that the biggest investment they make in free agency is Keanu Neal, and make it very clear that he's playing linebacker, and then the biggest investment they make in the draft is Micah Parsons, it's a linebacker, it tells me the actions there are that Dan Quinn didn't really like what he saw on tape from the Cowboys linebackers last year. To address it in a way that they have, it really, I mean, the room is obviously jammed with players that have talent, and they all kind of do something a little bit different than the other. It's going to be very, very interesting to see the way that group kind of shakes out. And me personally, I'm looking to see who's going to be the leader of that group, because you lose a Sean Lee. I don't know much about Keanu Neal's background, but obviously he comes from Atlanta. Dan Quinn obviously thinks very highly of him. Is it going to be him? Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith? Who's going to take over that group? Because here's the thing, like, Micah Parsons didn't get drafted at 12 to sit there and slowly be brought along. He's getting on the field. And a guy like Jabril Cox, what he brings in terms of what he can do defending in the passing game, I find it hard to believe that he's not going to get some work on third downs and things like that, covering some tight ends and some running backs out of the backfield. So then you mix in Jalen and Leighton if he's healthy, and Keanu Neal. I mean, it's a crowded room. That's going to be the most interesting position group to watch throughout camp and into the season.
John, great stuff. Okay, what's next? In the old days, like 2 years ago, you'd have the draft, you'd have the rookies come in, kind of a rookie mini camp, and then, of course, you'd have some veterans and eventually mix them all together. What's the timeline now?
Yeah, they're going to do the rookie mini camp. I mean, there's still several Cowboys players that are still working out of the facility. The biggest thing going forward here is, to me personally, is just all about what availability are we going to have, and during that availability, what will Dak be doing? You know, he says yesterday that, you know, if they had to play a game right now, he can play. But he also wouldn't, you know, he's not sitting there saying he's 100%. So, you know, they have, obviously, he wouldn't be at rookie minicamp, but they're going to have minicamp coming up and OTAs and that. I'm interested to see how much Dak is able to do, because I don't personally think he's going to be doing more than just kind of throwing off to the side. Why put him even in a situation where there's no tackling and you're just sitting there, you know, a walkthrough? Why even put him in a situation where anybody could accidentally just roll up on him, an offensive lineman or something like that? So I'm interested to see how much Dak Prescott is doing in these next couple of months, because I personally don't think we're going to see much of him until training camp. So if he is doing a lot more than that, then that's obviously a great sign. But yeah, that's basically where we're headed now, because it looks like this roster is pretty much set. I just don't see them making too many more moves. And if they do, the one to keep an eye on would still be backup quarterback. I'm not completely sold that Garrett Gilbert's going to be their backup. So maybe they still try and kick the tires on a veteran somewhere, or maybe try a trade or something. I'm interested to see on backup quarterback.
Okay, buddy. Thank you, John. Great stuff leading up through the draft, all the way into the draft, through the draft, and even now. Thanks for your time. See you soon. Can't wait for us to have a chance to send Paul to AT&T Stadium where he can get his fix on Sundays covering the team. That's John Machota from theathletic.com. There's an interesting note. Oh, cool. Craig?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up this is more of an off-the-radar type of thing in a way, but not going to have that until tomorrow. The Orioles have a no-hitter. John Means has thrown the first complete game no-hitter for Baltimore since Jim Palmer in 1969.
That's me. That's 10 years old me.
So the Orioles beat the Mariners 6-0, and John Means went 9 full, 12 Ks, no runs, obviously, no hits, obviously.
Is that 2 or 3 already this year?
I don't know what the total's at for this year.
Craig, Paul, the Chicago White Sox have one?
Well, yeah, the White Sox had one, and then Madison Bumgarner had one that was 7 innings the other day.
Yeah, okay.
But
yeah, so just anyways, it's first since 1969 and Jim Palmer for the Orioles organization.
You want a trivia question? Baltimore in 69 lost to the Miracle Mets. Then they came back a year or two later and won the World Series. They also had a staff during that time that had 4 20-game winners. You know who they were?
Jim Palmer, Mike Cuellar, Dave McNally, and I think Pat Dobson. All 4 won 20 games.
Well, nobody does that anymore.
Well, because they pitch every 5th day. Or
most teams don't even have one guy that does that, much less 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. By the way, I cannot tell they had one base runner, the Mariners, and it was their left fielder, Sam Haggerty. And I don't know how he got on base because it's not listed as a hit by pitch.
Or an error?
So I'm wondering if it's a pass ball and a strikeout.
Interesting.
You got caught stealing.
Really?
Let's see.
In the second inning. Yeah.
Well, you go to play
via
by
wild pitch. That's what it was. Wild pitch on a 3rd inning strikeout.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
So there you go.
That's that. So that was that. It's not on the catcher; it's on the pitcher.
So he was this close. To having a perfect game.
Yeah.
Like we did yesterday on this show.
First time ever that a pitcher has thrown a no-perfect no-hitter with no walks, no hit by pitches, no errors.
First time ever?
Yeah.
You know when baseball started? Like 1869 or something.
See, that's why I love baseball, is that every single day, something that's never happened in almost 200 years happens.
I know.
That's
really insane.
To me, it's great.
Here's an update on one of your off-the-radar stories yesterday, and then Melvin Hunt will join us. The media recently reported Denver Broncos player Jawan James suffered a significant potential season-ending injury while working out at a private gym away from the club's facility. And a $10 million Paragraph 5 salary for the 2021 season was fully guaranteed for skill, injury, and cap purposes. several clubs have inquired about the contractual implications resulting from the fact Mr. James sustained a season-ending injury away from the training facility. Injuries sustained while a player is working out on his own in a location other than an NFL facility are considered non-football injuries and are outside the scope of typical skill, injury, and cap guarantee. Such injuries are also not covered by the protection found in paragraph 9 of the player contract, meaning the clubs have no contractual obligation to provide salary continuation during the year in which the injury was sustained. You're bringing this up because some players started saying, wait a minute, they should be covered over whatever. And so it is.
So he's not. He's going to lose $10 million that he was signed to make because he got hurt working out off-site. That sucks.
Under our agreement with the NFL Players Association, players that sustain football-related injuries are entitled to significant protection, payment of whatever. According to the media coverage, several players have expressed surprise that Mr. James's injury was not covered by the injury guarantee, although this point has been made frequently in our discussions with the union about the offseason program. Clubs are encouraged to remind the players of a significant injury-related protection provided they choose to work outside of the football facility. Yeah, I always thought that's what it was. Maybe a little...
I thought you were about to say that, no, he's actually going to get the money because, so the story is what it is. It's that he's hurt, training off-site, and he's not going to make $10 million as a result. That sucks. That really sucks.
And and then you're like, well, wait a minute. No, you know what? It's part of the deal, man. He knew that. He knew that when he started. And I'm not saying
his agent, if anything.
And Juwan wasn't trying to do anything like, nefarious or whatever. He just, he was working out. I could see that.
You could be walking down the road and accidentally twist or do something. You run around taking care of your kids, you could tear an ACL pretty easily. Going upstairs or something like that. So. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Hopefully he's been smart with his money. That's all I can think of.
Would that not be the worst?
Yeah, especially if you were planning on it. Like if you felt like, hey, I've got $10 million coming in this year, react accordingly, and now you don't. I hope that you had held off on any of the big spending.
Okay, when we come back, Melvin Hunt played with Baylor 1987 to 1991. He's been a part of the NBA for a long time. Been around the league. He's with the Mavericks recently, but now with the Atlanta Hawks the last 3 years. And they got a team that's going to make the playoffs, it appears, as they're on the stretch drive for the last, 3-5 weeks of the season. Melvin Hunt is an assistant coach with the Hawks. He also knows everything about Baylor basketball, his thoughts about the national championship. But the reason I initially contacted him was he knows Nicki Collen well. She was in Atlanta. He got to know her. She was at practices. They talked a lot. And Melvin Hunt on Scott Drew in the national title and also on Nicki Collen. All of that. Nicki Collen, all of that more. SicEm365 Radio. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, the Ram Spotlight Sales Event, 3-peat Motor Trend Truck of the Year. The 2021 new Ram 1500 Crew Cab Lone Star with values up to $6,750 or 0% for 72 months. How about the Jeep Freedom Days featuring the 2021 new Grand Cherokee Laredo, up to $3,750 in values or 0% for 72 months, or the 2021 Cherokee Latitude Plus or Lux, up to $5,000 in values or 0% for 84 months, and the Renegade Latitude with total values of $5,750 or 0% for 84 months, in the Chrysler Pacifica. Yep, the Hybrid Limited, total values of up to $6,000 or 0% for a total of 72 months. Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, their championship drive continues. AJ, of course, sold me a car a year ago, and I've never been more thrilled with a car thanks to Alan Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month. Includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today. Just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway, Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones Whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs. Knowing you, that's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717, or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The SicEm365 Radio Live Guest VIP Hotline is sponsored by Stonewood Dental. We are all in this together.
Atlanta Hawks assistant coach Melvin Hunt, Baylor graduate, played at Baylor 1987 to 91. Temple High School, in fact, at one point. Melvin, thanks for your time. I know I'd like to get into what, of course, the men have done with their run and national title, but I come to find out, Coach Drew telling me, that you got to know Nicki Collen while she was in Atlanta. Of course, you've been there with the Hawks as well.
Yeah, I tell you what the first thing is, let me just say this. I was so obnoxious for 72 hours. I took 72 hours to really get outside myself and be obnoxious when we won that championship. I wore shirts, green and gold, to shoot around on the bus. I talked trash to Trey Young. I enjoyed it. I told him, I said, I was sorry but not sorry. They could be mad if they wanted to, but I took 72 hours to be the most obnoxious guy for the Atlanta Hawks.
Well, yeah, you had right. I mean, you weren't the only one now. I mean, there were a bunch of others. I'm still thinking there's some that's still in that mode right now.
Well, and they should. I just, I have a different job to do, so I had to kind of temper my my attitude. But at the moment, I said 72 hours would be good, to outwardly be obnoxious. I'm still tickled. Every day I'm still a little bit excited for the program and just for Waco in general. I mean, it's such a great accomplishment. And, I'm just so proud of Scott Drew and all the guys. Great accomplishment.
Well, it was an amazing run, and we could keep discussing that. And you know what he did and how long it was a methodical march. At times they flirted with a Final Four, but just to see what he did, a guy like yourself that's been has basketball in your veins, that how good that team was and how dominant they were in Indianapolis.
And it's funny you say all that. I really thought, I didn't say much about it, but the prior year with the COVID stuff, I really thought they were going to win it that year. I didn't say that outwardly. We all talking, everybody's talking now, but seriously, just having talked with Coach Drew and spending a little time with him earlier that year, I felt like they had a chance. He really liked that team. Mm-hmm. I did that. And then with the COVID stuff, them not getting an opportunity, I just felt like they were built for it. And one of the things I've always known is when you've got guards, you've got a chance. And those guards are special.
Yeah. I mean, is it like they have a bunch of them too, Melvin? They had like interchangeable parts. Obviously, the ones that were the guys who led the way, but they changed. What does it say that he had to change when Tristan went out, and they had to go from what was always the bigs and the length and all the size to where they became who they are now?
Well, that's the beauty of coaching, in my opinion. The good coaches, they say champions adjust. And the really good coaches, they change with the ingredients that they have. I mean, a good example of that is Coach Popovich down in San Antonio. My man we used to play them when I first got in the league with Houston. The games would be in the 80s. And then they changed their personnel, and all of a sudden they were scoring 120. And then they changed their personnel again, and they just defended you and wouldn't let you score. And he's constantly evolving with the game, and I think that's what Coach Drew did, which I give him the utmost respect for. He and Tang and all those guys over there, they did an incredible job of just adjusting. I mean, you adjust to your talent. I think that's the sign of really good coaches. No disrespect to coaches who are kind of locked into their systems, and you kind of know that's the way they play, but I just think it says something about you as a coach when you're creative enough and you're confident enough to adjust to what you have. David, not to belabor the point, but my mom was a lifelong school teacher, man. She taught for over 40 years, and my girl was she always talked about lesson plans. The old teachers always had a lesson plan, always had curriculum. But my mom, what made her a good teacher was she didn't just stick with that one plan. She adjusted to her students, and I think that's what Scott Drew did this year. He did a great job of adjusting, to the talent that he had on his roster. I thought it was just an incredible job.
You talked about the 72 hours of wearing everything you could Baylor, and of course there's people who are just buying stuff left and right. Was it like a dream in a way? Because this is something. This is big. This is a monster. This is as good as it gets. Football winning a national championship. We know that the women's program, and I'm going to talk to you about that, has had their national titles, tennis, whatever. But I mean, this is a big deal. And did you ever think that was possible at Baylor?
I did. I really did. And I'll be honest, when we made the decision in the mid '90s to go into the Big 12 after the Southwest Conference, and that all the changes were happening, and I had an instructor. I was working on my master's, Daryl Lanus. Yep. He told us. He said, the landscape of college sports is going to change. It was way out in front. And he said, the landscape's going to really change. There are going to be, these power conferences with 20-plus members and all this stuff. And we were like, whatever. We were like, they could never do that. The rivalries are going to lose and all that stuff. He said, no. He told the class, he said, it's money. It's money. It's so lucrative, you almost have to do it. So fast forward, when Baylor was put in a position to make decisions as to whether or not they were going to go into the conference, I was one of those guys who was a little bit skeptical, because I was like, well, we're a small school. We capped our enrollment on purpose because we wanted to still be intimate. not lose Baylor in being, big college school. We wanted to preserve that. And so, like, Texas's budget at the time was double ours, like literally was double our budget. And all those other state schools, they had these large budgets, and I was just like, the proposal was Rice, Baylor, SMU, possibly TCU. They talked about Mercer. It would say it would be a great private school conference. And I was like, man, that's probably the way to go if, you really want to be productive. Well, here I am now,
yeah.
Years later, saying, that was probably a safe conservative approach. But the people that make the big money, they understood that, one, we could survive and thrive because, we still have such a great following and a great alumni base in those large markets, in the Houston and Dallas markets. We would be okay. And we were right. They were right. And, thankfully they took the plunge. And so back then, I thought that we would be able to be, honestly, like Gonzaga. I thought we would be a Gonzaga or a Villanova type. Mm-hmm. But I thought eventually the beauty of Baylor was going to peek through, and you were going to be able to get the talent, that you need to compete at the high level. But I just thought it was going to be as a small mid-major, honestly.
Yeah, there was a time, times when that was a little bit shaky, but here they are now. I mean, they're in what Scott has done. So when did you first meet Nicki Collen, who now, as you know, is the new head coach replacing Kim Mulkey at Baylor? When did that start?
When I took the job, here as the lead assistant here with Atlanta 3 years ago, and I knew of her. I have very close ties with the WNBA. One of my best friends is Tina Thompson, mm-hmm. and I've always been a part of spent a lot of time with the WNBA ladies. Especially when I was in Houston. So I followed the league, and I knew of Nicki. And she, as soon as we got to Atlanta, I think there was another coach on our staff that may have been connected to her, but whatever the case was, she was a sponge. She came to practices. She would curl up. She would curl up in the corner, not to disturb anything, but she would curl up in the corner and she would just study and watch. And then after practice, we would spend time together. She'd have her assistant with her sometimes, and we would just talk basketball. And every time we did a clinic, I knew who was going to be there. She was always there. She came to our games. She really supported us, but she also took it as an opportunity to stretch herself as a coach. Here she was. She was already an accomplished coach, but again, a student of the game. She was again thirsty for knowledge and thirsty to grow. And that was right up my alley. There were times after practice, I probably got in trouble with my wife because I'm standing in the middle of the court with, a couple of our coaches and Nicki and her assistant coach, and we're talking basketball, we're talking players, we're talking personalities, and we look up and I'm an hour and a half late for dinner. Mm-hmm. Because it's just, she's a basketball and a people person. I mean, Waco community is going to fall in love with her. And losing Coach Mulkey, who I've been a fan of for all my life. I grew up watching her when I was in Louisiana. To lose an icon like her, you never replace that. But we did really good, man. Hey, we did really good getting Nicki. I mean, she's going to be she's fiery. I hate saying it, but when you see her little small stature, kind of like Kim was on the sideline, mm-hmm. There are going to be times where you're going to wipe your eye. You have to wipe your eyes to see who's really over there, because she's got a lot of the same personality. She's feisty. She's an incredible competitor. And I tell you what, her ladies that she's going to coach, they're going to fall in love with her commitment to them as people and her commitment to the program, because every time I walked into the gym during the summer, I just kind of sneak in our gym, and they're not even, they didn't work out the Atlanta Dream. They didn't work out in our gym, in our practice facility, but we had Emory there, and you could rehab players, and sometimes they use our gym. And there were quite a few times in the summer she was over on a court by herself with a young lady from her team, getting her right and just spending time with them. And I just absolutely just fell in love with her as a coach, because she really, you talk about the sweat equity.
Mm-hmm.
She connects with those young ladies. And the great thing about Baylor sports and Baylor women's sports is, these young ladies are not just coming to college just to play college basketball. A lot of these ladies have aspirations to be pros, and that just speaks to where our program is nowadays. And are you kidding me? To have a former WNBA Coach of the Year coaching you? Are you kidding me? Just think about the visitors that they're going to have in the off season coming to Waco to hoop, just to play pickup. It's going to be an unreal. I just think it's a match made in heaven. It's a great opportunity for those young ladies. And you talking about a recruit, when she walks into your home and you're a top 10 recruit, and you know that you have aspirations to play at the next level, and she walks in the door. Are you kidding me? I mean, she knows what you want. And so I just think it's going to be a great way to attract young ladies, and they're going to want to play for her. I just think it's just a great hire.
What does it say? And I know the last couple of years with the Dream, they've had a lot of off-the-court things, injuries, and, of course, last year was a mess because of the ownership change and transition and a lot of the controversy. But she was there and handled that. They didn't win much, but she handled it. And then what does it also say that she's the same woman that's not afraid to step in to a program that has a standard it's almost impossible to match?
Well, you just painted the picture of who she is. You said it. She handled that. She managed all those rough times. Like a lot of times, you don't really know a leader until adversity steps in. And hey, there's a kabillion people, if there is such a word. There's a kabillion people that can draw up a play or that can execute an after timeout play and defenses. There's so many great coaches and wonderful coaching minds in this great country. But leaders, I mean, she's shown, to be able to weather the storm of all the off the court stuff that was going on, here in America and in Georgia. She handled that. It never became it didn't blow up, and that speaks to her leadership. That speaks to her ability to deal with varying, different personalities. And I again, if you can't tell already, I'm a bit of a fan.
Oh,
I'm a fan of her because of she produces. She's put it out there, and in the midst of all that of the losing and the injuries and all that stuff, that's when I saw her working the hardest. So I mean, she gets it. She really does. And I just know that her young ladies, they're going to pick up on it, and they're going to want to work. They're going to want to play for her.
Melvin Hunt with us, assistant coach of the Atlanta Hawks, Baylor basketball alum as well, and a huge fan, as you can tell, of Nicki Collen, who's now at Baylor. If you don't mind, the back to Scott Drew for a second. You're just describing Nicki, but have you ever met anybody like Scott Drew? And the first time you ever met him, a lot of times when people first meet him, they're like, this is not legitimate. And so many people this last year or two, as they've continued to win, have now said that they didn't always that was not him. And people were throwing darts at him. How unbelievable has he been for Baylor and sticking to who he is and the kind of person and what he represents?
First of all, for him to take the job when he did, speaks to his vision. We talked. The question I think you started off with my first encounters with him. Back would be right when he was taking the job. I was obviously still connected to the program and knew what was going on, knew some things. I almost was a part of the program during that time.
Right.
And so still very connected to the program. And Scott called me, and we had some great conversations. He just wanted to reach out to me, to reach out to former guys in the program. And he was high energy. He was optimistic. All the things that you want in a guy, taking over a program. And as far as him being genuine, when God's hands are on you, people are going to always question when God's hands are on you. And I tell you, I don't want to preach on here, but I will. The reality of it is, when Scott took over, you have your doubts. I'm sure he had his doubts, but he also had his faith and his trust in what God could do. And that's when Scott couldn't do this on his own. And he knows. He'll be the first to tell you. So his enthusiasm and his energy level is born out of his faith. And I know that, and that's why he's been successful. That's why, think about it, David, to endure the lean years when he didn't have scholarships, and, Scott, the things he had to do on the court just to keep his guys engaged, and to think they had a chance. He did some incredible things that didn't go, that maybe only made it to the Lariat.
Right.
that didn't get to the national news, but he did some creative things to keep it afloat. And, that's a man that's trusting God. And it's beautiful when God does something, when he's got his hands on something, it doesn't look right. You look at Scott and you're like, this dude can't be for real. And that's when you know that God's hands are on him. And I just think that he was the right guy. He's been the right guy. He's God's man. And most folks aren't going to really understand or appreciate him. My daughter played volleyball at Baylor for 4 years. She graduated last year and had a great run with them. And I tell you what, there are times when I felt like Scott was coaching her. He poured into her, and she wasn't even on his team. You're talking about a guy who has, you're talking about that culture of joy. You talk about that O for others. It's for real. It's for real, and I appreciate the fact that he stuck to his guns. That college basketball scene, I've considered going to college over my years as a coach. That college basketball scene, it's rough. It's rough, and people are, you have to stick to your guns, and I applaud him for doing it for so long. It's only fitting that he wins a championship.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. And one thing about Atlanta, where you are now, you guys are right now snug right inside that line of playing games and all of that. It's been a long time for the Hawks. And when I'm old school, so I remember Lenny Wilkins and, of course, Dominique Wilkins and some other guys that have played with Atlanta. Heck, I could remember, Pete Maravich and others, because that's just Pop Pettit. I wasn't alive that much, but those are guys that were the names of Atlanta Hawks history. And now you've got this team that seems like you're building after the last 3 years. What's it like to watch them kind of see a little success and get so close right now to maybe, being a playoff team and being a team that's growing the way they are?
Well, it's very rewarding. I came here, when I came to Atlanta, it was purely. I had a great situation in Dallas with Coach Carlisle and our staff. We were building. We were rebuilding. It was the end of the Dirk Whiskey era, and I could have stayed there forever. And I would have wanted to, had it been just, me, just being comfortable. But as I prayed about it, and I knew it was a time for me to kind of grow and to pour into somebody else's dream. And Lloyd Pierce, who's a very dear friend of mine, when he took the job, he was, he's a guy that kind of came into the league. He was like, the lowest guy on the totem pole when I was in Cleveland as an assistant. And he's a guy that I just spent time with, and I was in his wedding. And so I knew that it was a calling. I knew it was a place that I needed to be. And so to go and help him, a young assistant coach moving into being a head coach, it was so rewarding. And I hate the fact that the fruit of all of his labor is he doesn't get a chance to be a part of it, because you talk about a guy that built this thing, started building this thing, building a culture of togetherness, building a culture of communication, and doing all the right things. And it's the nature of the business. But it really makes me feel good knowing that he started it. He got this thing going. He did a great job of developing our young players. And, it's hard to be patient. Sometimes it's hard in professional sports to be patient. But our young guys, they grew under him. They grew under his leadership. The stuff he did off the court and on the court is unbelievable. And so now, sometimes you're the root. You don't get a chance to see the fruit. You're just, he's kind of the root. He got this thing started, and Coach McMillan has come in, established coach who's an incredible guy to work for. He's come in and just kind of picked up the baton where Lloyd handed it off, and our guys are playing extremely well. They've grown. Our young guys have grown. We added a couple free agents that are very, very, professional and talented, and it's been, it's really good because we're not just winning, but we're winning a certain way. We have a culture. We have a way that we want to play. And it's been fun watching our guys embrace it. It's hard sometimes. You want to revert to what you know, but our guys have they've worked through it. We've had a ton of injuries, and David, it's been fun watching these guys truly next man up.
Mm-hmm.
We got a couple guys, man, that they came here. They were kind of like, I don't want to say throw-ins, but they were insurance policies. They were guys that we weren't counting on. Guys that we were happy to have, but like Solomon Hill and Tony Snell were guys that were supposed to come in and just help our young guys, play a certain style. Man, David, we've been counting on those guys, and they've been great for us. And so it's been really, really fun. We know that we're hoping that our finish line isn't close. Because we're looking at, we're trying to finish strong as far as the regular season so we can have some momentum going into the playoffs. And, it's really, it's just been good for like the Trey Youngs of the world, the Kevin Huerters, John Collins, all those young guys to get a chance to now play in some, to play in the postseason. Mm-hmm. And they're excited. They don't know what to expect, which is great because now, hopefully through some good coaching, maybe we can hypnotize them and trick them into thinking that they're wily vets as we go into the playoffs. But they're wide-eyed and they're ready to go. And I just think, for the community, for the city of Atlanta, it's been really cool because we're winning and we play a style of basketball that is enjoyable for fans, but for the basketball purists, I think they appreciate it.
It's been a nice run. Melvin, I've tried to get with you, and God, this has been incredible. We talked about all. I asked you for 5 minutes. I'm terrible about that. Hey, give me 5 minutes, and here we are 25 minutes later. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. I can't wait for Baylor fans to hear everything you had to say about not just Scott Drew and the men's program, but also with Nicki Collen and what she's going to bring to the women's program as well. We appreciate your time.
Hey, not a problem at all, man. I'm telling you, I love Baylor. I met my wife there. My daughter went to school there. It's an incredible place. It's an incredible community. There's some great folks. And David, well, I'm gonna pull a little trick on you. I would ask if you could do shout outs, but I'm gonna do one before I ask. I'm gonna ask for forgiveness. But I want to talk about Claude and Becky Lindsay real quick.
Sure.
I love them. They are incredible Baylor folks. It's crazy when they took care of me when I was a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old, and then they transfer over to taking care of my daughter when she was an 18, 19, 20-year-old.
How about that?
Dennis Lindsay, no relation, but Dennis, they took care of him and his son while Jake was there, and there's so many incredible folks there. It makes it easy to love Waco. And I'm thankful that we have Nicki on board. And you know what? And in a funny way, I know that Coach Mulkey is excited and happy that we got a really good person, to step into that role. And lastly, man, I can't say enough about my man Scott Drew and Tang and Coach Brooks and all those dudes over there, man. It's a great time to be part of the Baylor family, and I just I pray that God keeps his hands of favor on us because it's been a great run.
It has been, and good luck the rest of the way. Good luck with against Phoenix, Indiana coming up on your schedule. Melvin Hunt, assistant coach, top assistant coach for Nate McMillan with the Atlanta Hawks, former Baylor men's basketball player on SicEm365 Radio.
Man, I enjoyed Melvin, and he gave me a lot of time, and he was fantastic on many things. Scott Drew, Baylor, the Hawks, Trae Young and company, and then also, of course, Nicki Collen, the new head coach at Baylor, and what he knew of her when he was with the Atlanta Hawks, or is with the Atlanta Hawks, and she was with the Atlanta Dream. Coming up next, Paul Catalina's 5 at 5:55 and more to wrap up the hour, plus more texts from you and your opinions on Nicki Collen day whatever it is. 3, plus the introductory press conference and her interview with us, SicEm365 Radio. If you love steak, if you love to have your steak custom cut, Butcher Shop inside Waco Custom Marketplace is there to do that for you. I like a bone-in ribeye. And then, you know, when I make an order on occasion and I get in contact with Brian, bone-in ribeyes, I want them about 1.25 inches, if not thicker. A regular ribeye, it can even be like maybe 1.5 inches or thicker. A bacon wrap filet, I want that baby this thick. And then, of course, wrapped in filet. And they'll do that for you at Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. And they always have some specials on whether it's the beef, the pork, the poultry, or seafood. And fresh baked bread and kolaches every single day inside of what is also a part of their store, the bakery. So you have a butcher shop and you have a bakery like the good old-fashioned days. And up and down the aisles of Waco Custom Marketplace, it could be as simple as something that's a bag of pasta, maybe some cereal, or possibly even spices and seasonings, sauces and more, soft drinks, and also if you want energy drinks or wine or beer to the right in a cold, big refrigerator that takes up almost the entire wall when you walk in the front door. You could also order live crawfish. It's Wednesday? It's almost 6 o'clock. If you call right now, you can get, maybe if they still have it available, 30-pound sacks of live crawfish at $4.25 a pound. If you call in by Wednesday at 6, pick it up anytime after Friday at 2 or when they're open on Saturday. Waco Custom Marketplace is where I go to get my beef products, my butcher shop products, and also a chance to get some knickknacks along the way. Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more. With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nicki Group Insurance Agency. With the Nicki Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nicki Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nicki Group at 1-800-258-8302.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
All right. So Monday, it was announced that Nicki Collen's the new head coach at Baylor. Tuesday, she was in town doing all sorts of tours of the campus. Today, she was introduced, also did numerous interviews, and we appreciate Kyle Robarts. We had the chance to visit with her earlier today. Great to hear from Dale Bonner and much, much more. Paul Catalina, it's your turn.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
All right, brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Club, bringing the laughter and the funny back to Waco, coming this summer. Working on the building right now. We're doing events. We did one on Saturday at Rogue Media Network. We're going to do another one on May 29th, so keep paying attention for information on tickets for that. It's a great event. We're going to have fun. We're going to have do events all over town until we can get the building open. So it's very exciting for Slapsticks Comedy Club. All right, top 5.
Is everybody happy about it?
Well, I mean, there's a couple people who aren't, but who cares? Most people should be. Number 5, top 5 effects of Baylor men's basketball transfers. Number 5, gives them more flexibility in recruiting. They picked up these 2 transfers, which was obvious they were going to do that. But given the guys that they are, guards, that gives them the flexibility to kind of, not have to maybe press so hard on some people like they would have normally had to do. Number 4, this kind of allows LJ Cryer, right, a little more space to find what his true role is going to be. I'm not worried about Adam Flagler. I'm not worried about Matthew Meyer. I'm not worried about some of those other guys. I mean, Matthew Meyer, should he come back to the NBA and not tell him, yeah, come out, which we don't think is going to happen. They'll find their roles. The veterans will find their roles. But LJ Cryer is one who has lofty expectations, and I expect, he's going to need a little space to find what he's really going to do, if he's going to be the true point guard or not.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Number 3, they've gotten these guards now. They don't have to change the style that got them to the title. You wonder, you lose Maceo Teague, you lose Davion Mitchell, you lose Jared Butler, and Mark Vidal's going to plug into whatever style it's going to be. I mean, whether it's that or, what they used to do. But if you lose guards and you can't replace them, then you maybe have to change your style again, which the year after winning the title, you don't really want to do. And whether Dale Bonner, we don't know how much Dale Bonner's going to play. It's going to be a transition from Fairmont State to the Big 12, but he's gonna bide his time if he has to. But especially for James Akinjo, it allows them the time to morph into to continue being what they were.
I agree.
This last year. Number 2, less pressure on the freshmen like Kenny Brown. And I don't think Kenny Brown's going to feel any pressure. I think he's pretty much going to come in and hit the ground running, but still less pressure on them.
Yeah, this is, you look at who they have coming back. And even with the losses of those you mentioned, of the 4 core guys, and now Matthew Meyer's decision still has to come down the road at some point.
Yeah, but I mean they're loaded. They've got a lot of good talent, but like, who's the dogs?
Yeah,
like who is Davion Mitchell next year? Who is Mark Vital next year? Like, that's the thing, is talent's fine, but they didn't just have talent last year. They had chemistry, which I'm sure Scott Drew will work that out over the next few months along with the rest of that staff, but. Who are the dudes? Who are the difference makers, right? And that's what we'll find out.
I love the way you said that. Who are the dogs? Because that's the way they played, like control.
Yeah, I mean, Davion Mitchell, Vital, all of them. They were ferocious out there. They were physical. They were nasty. They were mean, and all in a positive way. And so, that's something that's got to be replaced, and it's not just simply plugging in another player.
Yeah, and number one, the replenishment of that depth, that they had before. I mean, you need, like, the freshmen can't do that alone. So, and of course, there's some guys, Dane Danger, who will be a part of this, you assume. And, Jordan Turner didn't play a lot this past year, but he's going to be a part of that. And, another year, he's a pretty skinny dude. He's going to be in the Coach Charlie Melton strength program. A protein shake is not to lose weight. A protein shake is to gain weight, kind of a program. And so that'll be that. And one more thing before we go, I just wanted to mention this. A man who's been a friend of mine since I got started in radio, and a lot of you know because he was the voice of the Golden Wave Band. Dr. Jerry Johnson passed away yesterday evening at the age of 84. Did a character called into the show pre-Smokey. Aggie Owl was very funny. Really funny guy, really just a true gentleman, and a guy who was always very nice to me and very nice to us. And if you were from around Baylor, Waco, you knew Jerry Johnson, and you probably maybe had classes with him or whatever. But he was a wonderful, sweet man, and he will be missed. And I guess the good news is that Butch Henry is reunited with one of his favorite golf buddies in heaven.
He had that voice that when they were coming on the field, he would introduce the band, the Golden Wave Band, and it was just him. You're right. And he and Butch are now going to have fun up in heaven because both of them will be there. Mm-hmm. And Anthony, we're thinking about you and the rest of the family as well. Armstrong greatness, Jack McKenzie.
I don't know. I think Armstrong.
All right, Armstrong, somewhat greatness, average above. No, Nicki Collen. Thank you for your time today. Melvin Hunt, Lane Garrison of 12 Mighty Orphans, Eleasah Anderson, Dale Bonner, John Machota, and thank you for watching and listening on YouTube or everywhere else we're on now. The app, of course, don't forget, and subscribe to SicEm365 Premium section. That is exploding as well. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoak. We do thank you for watching and listening, and we appreciate your support. Spread the word about SicEm365 Radio.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.